welcome back. We have another episode of the Nut Bar Seasonal Anime Podcast. We are talking about the upcoming fall 2024 season. As the weather starts to change, the anime season starts to change too. And we got a bunch of new shows and 10 billion sequels. But before that, we're going to go and introduce ourselves, just in case you're not familiar with us or our wonderful line of work.
Yeah, my name is Tex-Mex. I go by Juan on the podcast. You know, we've done this so many times that I said like, hey, have an intro in mind. I don't have an intro in mind. Just know that I like giving things like I'm probably the most lenient person here other than Tim, who just watches everything. I like giving things a chance.
Damn, you took my intro, Juan.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay, I'm next. We're going left to right on the screen of the funny cartoon people here. I'm Chris. I like to give things a fair break, I would like to say, but some people might also say that I'm a snob, and that's okay. Sometimes things are bad, but sometimes things are good, and that's why we're here, to find the good.
All right, I'm Logan. I'm our manga correspondent, which means that I have an outsized role on these pre-shows, especially this one, because there's like 12 shows we're going to be talking about that aren't manga adaptations, and the rest of the like 30 of them or whatever are going to be manga adaptations. And every season I go through and I read at least the first chapter of every manga adaptation I can find to kind of pre-screen stuff and see if maybe there's something interesting out there that I wasn't expecting. And maybe there is this season. Wait and find out.
Oh.
All right, and I'm Tim. And Juan stole my stick, but I'm the one who watches the most on here. Just get everything a try and feel them out. I'm also low sick, so I apologize if I sound a little different from our normal recording voices. But should be fine. Should be fun.
All right.
Get better soon, bud.
We are going to start with running down a few sequels. There's this is not exhaustive. There is about 10, maybe even 15 additional sequels that we are not going to even talk about just because they're either
I think
more
there was
obscure shows,
27 total sequels.
Either
we're not going to list all of them,
or there's stuff we don't really care about, or they're random seasonal shit, etc., etc. So we're gonna go through a couple. I know Exorcist, the remake, is getting a new season. Woohoo! If you like that, that's good for you.
Blue
Bleach,
Exorcist, right?
The new season of Bleach is coming out. This is the sort of not the reboot, but like the return, the final seasons of Bleach that topped the Mal charts. I'm sure the shounen fans are excited about that. So Pickup Girls in a Dungeon season 5 is happening. No one cares. I don't care.
Is this like part 2 of it?
Who cares?
Part 2 or part 3 or whatever?
Fifth season. No parts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just the first season.
Hyakushou Kizoku second season. I don't even know what that is. I'm gonna be real. Tim.
Do you know the English name of that?
I didn't know we needed an English name for that.
Then why is it on here? Okay, MF Ghost second season is happening. Natsume Show is getting a new season after a really long time, which I think is pretty cool. I have not actually watched that. I've been meaning to. But that is cool to see after such a long hiatus. Tonbo is getting a second season. That's the golf anime. I think Tim liked this one. I know Juan
was that last season or like this current season?
2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the last one, is that the 7 Deadly Sins one?
No,
Tensei Kizoku.
That's
what is
the Prince one, whatever it was called.
Oh, I didn't watch that. It's an isekai.
I
think Tim liked it, which is why it's on here.
Tensei Kizoku, Kante skilled, Nari Gairu. As a reincarnated aristocrat, I'll use my appraisal skill. Oh, it's the appraisal skill one. Okay. To rise in the world.
Yeah, he collects his friends like Pokemon and they're powerful or something.
Yeah,
just that's Fire Emblem, kind of.
Sure. Okay, so that's our quick. We're running through those. Those are happening. There's more. Go look at. We're gonna focus in on a couple of more high-profile ones that we're more interested in talking about now, starting with Beastars, which is what's on your screen. So Beastars final season. It's ending the whole story, which is kind of crazy. It feels like a little bit like they rushed through this manga, but as long as it's a good adaptation, I'm not going to complain. The last 2 seasons were excellent. It's been a really long time, but I'm ready for some more fucking Beastars. Let me tell you what.
I mean, like, according to one of our friends who has read the manga, the first 2 seasons are like only like the first half of the story, So for this final season to be it feels weird, unless it's 24 episodes, which we don't know for sure. It's Netflix hasn't like divulged into like how they're splitting up the
this
season.
is starting in December, so
Yes,
it's going to be a
late
while.
Run.
Yeah,
We might actually end
it's
up counting
also
that for winter. TBD.
No, well, because it'll have aired before we get the next.
Yeah. Definitely doesn't count
episode
until
out.
25 for the awards, though.
I
Still,
mean, like the main
Well,
mystery of the
no,
show is
it-
also covered.
It will be
so
a
I don't
bad
know.
drop because it's a Netflix exclusive this time.
yeah.
Oh,
So like
exclusive?
previous,
Okay.
it has been on Netflix, but it was like alongside the Japanese TV broadcast. But this time, it's only Netflix that's distributing the episodes, so they'll probably just drop all the episodes at once.
Okay.
So
batch.
I hate the batch
Anyway,
I also hate
releases.
batch
Probably
releases, but whatever. Yeah. Exciting conclusion. I think we're all looking forward to that one.
Oh yeah.
Next up is Blue Lock. Weird name. U2
Versus
the under
U20 Japan.
Japan team.
This arc fucks. I love this arc so much. Like I'd say this is like the pinnacle of Blue Lock in my opinion. Yeah, so I read the manga for this. Like that is how much I was like addicted to Blue Lock when I finished season 1. And I think the way this season's going to work, it's going to be like the first 3 or 4 episodes are going to be like the third selection arc cuz like it's pretty short. And then like the rest of the season is just this one game. And this one game is insane. The climax, oh my god, I hope to god that they adapted so well, because like the climax is like the entire chapter is double spreads.
Oh, that's really cool.
That like
actually,
it's so fucking cool. Like I want to own that manga volume when it comes out in America.
neat.
But yeah, if you watch like the soccer anime, watch the show. It's great.
All right. Next up is we have this listed as the sequel/franchise section. This isn't technically a sequel; it's a new project, but we just felt like lumping it in with here. This is Dragon Ball Daima.
Yeah, so Dragon Ball Daima, it is canonically after Super. This is Akira Toriyama's final project before he passed. So, as that we know of, at least he might have been working on something else, and like they'll announce that later. But this was like the last story that he wrote, and we don't know too much about it. Like, at least not synopsis wise, but like we got some trailers. Goku and the gang have turned into kids by demons, and now they're gonna go into the demon world so they can become adults again. I don't know why Akira Toriyama is so obsessed with having Goku be a kid, but fuck it, I guess. We'll go, because like from some of the trailers, like they still have some like great Sakuga, so I want to check it out. Like this is actually gonna be like my first time actually watching a Dragon Ball project as it's coming out, because like I didn't watch Super until it was done because I was waiting for the dub. But I'm like, for this one, like because of Akira Toriyama's passing, I'm gonna watch it as it comes out. Now, will I keep up with it? We'll see.
Yeah, but worth a try.
I don't think anyone else has any thoughts on it. I'm the only like big Dragon Ball fan of the group.
Yeah. All right. Next up is probably the most anticipated sequel of the season, which is the 3rd season of ReZero.
Oh baby, ReZero season 3. My hot take. Season 2 was like pretty alright. I hope season 3 is better, because I mean, like I've heard that like ReZero does get better and better like as it goes on, and like I actually have no idea what's gonna happen in this season. Like I had like some semblance of idea last time, but like this one I'm like I got nothing.
It's a really funny comment, because I think that season 2 is way better than season 1.
I know.
I agree. Season 2 was significant.
Like I thought season 1
I'm the
was
one with the hot
pretty
take.
mid. Yeah, I am excited to see more of this. I think that the show's gotten better as it's gone on. I mean, I am definitely not the biggest ReZero fan in the world. I think it's good. It's enjoyable, and it's a high production. It's fun to watch, but I'm excited to see where the story's gonna go. Like Juan said, I'm in the dark. I know that this is a huge, long franchise. Do we know? Okay, it's 16 episodes.
It's
Yeah,
16
but it's been-
episodes. It's going to be 8 episodes this season, and I think 8 episodes in February, I believe.
What a weird way to air a show. Okay, well,
It is incredibly weird. But
Production.
Yeah. So we'll be in this for a while. It is going to be a huge ensemble cast. I think like every single character they've introduced since season 1 will like show up in this season.
whoa, maybe
so-
Rim will be not dead. I don't know. Spoilers.
I'm pretty sure she's written out of the story.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see. That's a big one. Next up is the second season of the Rurouni Kenshin, the new adaptation, which is starting one of the better arcs in the manga that maybe me and Logan will actually come back and watch. We'll see. TBD.
How far do you think until the arc that you want to jump into will it be?
I don't know. We haven't been watching the show on.
I guess so.
I don't know. Did Tim have anything more on this one?
I mean, you watched all of season 1, right, Tim? Like, did it get better over time, or like was it just mostly just rehab?
It was kind of almost the same. It's just like the story doesn't really pick up until like the Kyoto arc, which is what this season's going to go into. That's when it starts its big, series-long arc, and it starts ramping up and we meet the big bad.
Yeah.
So
this is kind of
this is kind of make or break it time for it.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, next up is one that I'm personally very excited for, which is Shangri-La Frontier Season 2. One of the biggest kind of sleeper hits of fall 2023. I loved that season. I thought it was excellent, and I'm very excited to see where it continues to go. I think there's still a lot of intrigue left in the story. They hit a good stopping point, and so yeah, I'm ready for more. This is one of the more fun shows to watch. It's just a good time.
I did see in the PV that like they show the humans like in the human world, like going into the game. I'm like, ooh,
that's
like
the OP apparently. I think.
Oh, is it?
That's gonna be yeah. So it shows all the different characters like logging on. Yeah, I thought that was cute.
I really hope we get to see more live action, not live action, but
live
like
action.
IRL scenes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think it would be fun.
I think I asked Ethan about our friend about this. He's read the manga. I think he said there's not that much IRL interaction.
Man, then have the anime make up some.
Yeah,
Fuck it.
Maybe. Still exciting stuff. I'm looking forward to this one a lot. Next up is one that is I don't even remember when the original came out. This is a Sword Art alternative, Gun Gale Online. The side story.
It was pre-COVID.
Oh, it was way pre-COVID.
Definitely pre-COVID.
It was like 2017 or 2018.
I think so. Yeah.
So it's been a really long time. We watched the beginning couple episodes of this and just kind of fell off of it.
We watched episode 1, maybe episode 2.
Yeah. This was a kind of a fan favorite. I think a lot of people like this one a lot, especially people that like kind of hate SAO or like actually this one's good. So happy for everyone that wants more of this one. Yeah. Nice to see it return.
Mm-hmm.
All
right. And that should be it for all the sequels.
That's it for all of our sequels. So, plenty to watch, plenty of big franchises, plenty of big shonen shows, and then like fan favorites like Beastars, ReZero, Sword Art. Plenty of good stuff. But we're done with that, and we're moving on to the new shit. Only new things from here on out. So we're gonna start with Acro Trip. So this, to me, there's a lot of magical girl shows this season. I've noticed that.
Surprisingly.
Like it's suddenly it's magical girl season in the fall. The premise of this one seems to be that the main girl, whose name is Chizuko, is a huge otaku for magical girls, and her favorite is a girl named Berry Blossom. But apparently the villain sucks, and so no one really pays attention to her fights because they're low stakes. But she wants to kind of highlight how cool her favorite magical girl is, so I believe she's joining the villains to help make the stakes a little bit higher, and in the process maybe get closer to the magical girl as well. That is what I believe the premise is from the trailer that we watched. This looks okay.
It is the most like okay show I've seen this season.
I think it is a fine premise. I think that the visuals are very standard. I don't know if it's doing anything special, but I would maybe consider watching this. Maybe. That's kind of where I'm at right now. I don't know about the others.
I have no real interest in the show. Like the visuals just don't appeal to me.
It's like safe for work gushing over magical girls.
Like, a little bit, actually.
It is really close how similar the two premises of those shows
like it
are.
is. I was noticing
with like the girl being like a big fan of the magical girls, but she ends up joining the villain instead, and she fights. I feel like I haven't heard that premise very often, and I've heard it twice in the year. So it's like, okay, maybe this is like the new trend.
A new trend.
Magical girls.
I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that I haven't it twice.
I'm glad you got the reference.
yeah. So I don't know. Maybe if you're really into gushing and wanted one without all the sex, then actually I don't know.
Well, that's
You're
the thing,
probably not
Chris.
gonna watch this.
I liked all the sex.
Yeah, I was to say all the horny perverts are just gonna be there for that. Maybe it'll be more wholesome. I have no idea. This one I think we're gonna have to see. I'm a little bit more ambivalent on it though, but it is definitely of the magical girl shows one of the weaker. I think the other two I'm a little bit more interested in.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, moving on. I believe this is a manga.
The Logan corner here.
It's all a Logan corner. It's gonna be like Logan most of the
It's
time.
his arena.
And you guys just have you guy corners. Yeah, this is my world, and you're all living in it.
Oh shit.
Anyway, Amagami-san Chi no Enmubushi.
The
I
English
feel like this
name is Tying the Knot with an Amagi Sister.
Right.
Amagami.
I feel like this manga's discussion of the role of religion and faith in society and the power of prayer get undermined a little bit by the 4 separate trip onto boob scenes. I don't know if like 3 girls is enough to be a harem, but this like it feels like a harem in the sense that, the score going into this. The characters are kind of cardboard cutouts, the emotional beats are like really treacly and just kind of feel like they were stapled on, and the boobs are boobs. And they're not even like, particularly special boobs. Like I in the course of reading a lot of harem chapter 1s for this, you realize that like boobs are all kind of the same, man. They're all just boobs.
Logan, you need to you need to touch your own pair of boobs first.
I think that boobs in manga are probably a little bit more consistent in quality. I think that boobs in anime are can wildly range in the quality of how they are being animated. And
I will
That
never
is also
forget
true.
that one show, fucking what's it called? Not Chaos Head. Was it Chaos Head?
Chaos
No.
Child?
Chaos Child.
Do you mean
no, it's
the
not that.
9
Occultic
one?
9 is the name.
Occultic
of the show.
9. That's the one I'm thinking of. That one. That girl. Jesus Christ.
Anyway, we're way off topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, this looks atrocious.
Yeah.
Just truly terrible. Just the most like trite porn dojin plot I've ever heard. Like, oh wow, he's gonna live there, and there's a bunch of maiden, and they're all sisters, but he has to marry one of them. What? And it's just
They bring that in as like a twist at the end of the chapter, and I was like, oh man, how could this possibly get any worse? And then it's like, and also he's gonna have to marry one of them, and I'm like, god damn it, why?
I'm sure you guys don't remember the show, but Temple, which aired like a year or
I
two
This is
ago.
like very
It's
much
the
like
exact
Temple.
same
Literally the same
premise.
premise.
I remember
Like, this is
Temple.
not
This is
like a-
worse than Temple.
It's worse than Temple for sure.
well, Temple's
This
the guy
is
that
very
did.
standard, like harem trope kind of things that's going on here. And I know like Logan's the like most like anti anything harem romance thing, so like I expect that from him. But like I don't know, maybe my bar is like set differently for harems, but this is like
Pretty
I don't
standard
really
for
have,
harem.
yeah, this is pretty standard. I don't have a high expectation. This is like more or less what I want. It doesn't look horrendous. It's like pseudo driveness from the Konosuba director. So like
Okay,
Oh, it is?
well,
I didn't know
Obviously,
that.
that doesn't
good
mean
from
anything.
it.
I'm just gonna be on it. This looks atrocious. I don't
Well,
know
I mean,
what
like for
you're
me,
talking about.
like because it's the exact same plot as Temple, I'm like I had fun with Temple already. I don't need to like double dip on this premise. Like I'm good on this.
maybe this could be better tempo.
I
doubt
that.
it.
It's not.
So
I
certain.
doubt it.
They tripped onto boobs 3 or 4 times in one chapter. That just feels like
Yeah.
someone who doesn't know how to make other things happen. Logan, tell us about Ao no Hako.
All right, Ao no Hako. So this is like a combination like sports romance show. I'm just reading the like little blurb here on AnyChart now, and it says, "Do these sports cross lovers have a chance?" And I think that's kind of cute.
It's funny.
And longtime fans of the podcast will know that I am kind of a hater of rom-coms and anime, and I'm not super big into sports either. So I think it means a lot when I say that this wasn't all that bad. Like, if you have a higher tolerance for rom-com than me, you might actually like this. The characters are pretty well defined. The emotional... Oh, I should probably explain the premise of this one, actually, because it, like, has a premise. So he is a badminton player. She is a basketball player, and he's had a crush on her for ages. And like, it looks like she's gonna have to move and like quit basketball or something. And so he gives her like an emotional speech or whatever, and that convinces her to like stay in town and keep playing basketball. But she's gonna be staying with him because it turns out their parents are old friends or whatever. And that last bit I kind of hated, but the rest of it, like, you know, the big impassioned speech, that was good enough. I kind of like the whole like spirit of competition thing that the sports anime half of this brings to the rom-com formula. That said, you know, I think if I were this girl, I would find this guy at least a little bit creepy. Like he's very he seems to like know a lot more about her than she knows about him. And then as I said before, the oh, we're gonna be living together thing is just unnecessary trashiness, like 15 yards, you know. But like, if you guys come back and tell me this is like heat and not frustrating in the way that all other rom-coms are, I might even be willing to give this a shot.
Wow.
That said, I'm not gonna watch it. I'm not gonna watch it probably, and I wouldn't necessarily feel right recommending something that I didn't actually like myself. But I think if you have a higher rom-com tolerance than me, this might be worth a shot.
Which is most people. I feel like most people have a higher rom-com tolerance than you. But you didn't mention that this is like technically two different sports in a sports show, right? Like it's badminton.
Yes, she's on the
and
basketball club and he's on the badminton club.
Yeah, this sports
which is really interesting.
Coming into this wanting a romance, it is a very slow burn to get any kind of romantic development. It's a little bit more focused on character development in the sports, about like these two people kind of living together and encouraging each other to be the best person they can each be. It's a kind of more kind of fresh take on combining these two genres that aren't really necessarily usually associated with each other, and it's fine, but it feels like it either does one or the other. It's either goes like all in on the sports or all in the romance, and it takes a while for the romance to really start to pick out. So Logan might actually be like okay watching this show, but I actually don't.
Honestly,
also,
like that's
don't think it's a Logan core show either. So like, I'm okay with him skipping this.
That's the most heartening thing like you could have possibly said, is like, yeah, the romance mostly just takes a backseat to the spirit of competition sports stuff, for me anyway. But I could imagine that getting frustrating, but it doesn't sound like it, you know, does the like rom-com thing where they're just like constantly like yanking the football away from you, as far as like, oh, they're gonna get together, oh no, it was a misunderstanding.
They kind of do, but it's like very short-lived.
Okay.
Like they don't drag it on. Like they go on like a date in one episode. And...
So anyway, let me hop in here. A couple of pieces of context. This is actually a Shonen Jump manga. It's actually one of the premier big Shonen Jump mangas that is in the publication right now. It's been getting really popular. That's why I had heard about it. I had heard about this sports kind of rom-com situation going on, and I was like, that's interesting that's trending in Japan. So that at least caught my interest. I think otherwise I have a kind of a low tolerance for high school type romance shows these days, unless the writing is really good. Some standout examples recently are like Insomniacs After School, and it's the other really good one that came out that same season that I'm blanking on. That was Tim's anime of the year last year.
Skip to Loafer?
Yeah, Skip to Loafer.
Oh, yes.
And so that's kind of my standard of like, man, I really need this to be close to this good, or else I'm just going to get bored with it. Or like Make Heroine's a good example from this season too. So I'm hoping it's trending in that direction. The trailer looked great. The production values look great. I think that this has all of the bones for a compelling drama, and I've heard good things about the manga, so I'm down to check it out. I think this has the potential.
Yeah.
It's also just cool to see a breakout Shonen Jump hit that's not about dudes punching each other. It's just neat.
Yeah, it's I can't remember the last like Shonen Jump that wasn't like action focused.
I mean, it's sports, so it's still some action to some extent, but yeah.
To some extent, yeah. But yeah, like I'm a big sports hater. Like it's honestly, it's a miracle I went back to Blue Lock. But like when I read the synopsis saying that they're like, oh, this is badminton and basketball, I'm like, oh, two sports I don't like. Great. But then like I watched the PB and I'm like, oh, wait, this looks pretty good actually.
Yeah.
Like I say, there's not a lot of romance, but there's also not a lot of sports either. Like there's
So then
some
what the
sports
fuck
and
is
they
the
play
show?
sports,
Well, it's
but they
a
don't go
drama.
super into depth. It's not like Haikyuu, they talk about all the strats and the rules and everything about it. It's more like a vessel for them to grow.
Yeah.
As
Like
a
an
character.
interpersonal drama.
So it's not super in depth, but it is sports, but it's not going to be like the
Okay.
main focus of the show.
The last point I want to make before we move on, because we spent a lot of time on this. What is with the trope? And I get that this is sort of a thing that's happened in all of anime history to some extent, but it is really picked up in like the past year. Wow, a hot girl is living at my house all of a sudden. That is like such a very extremely common trope in anime recently. And there's a couple this season too, and there's been a bunch recent. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what's up.
It's
I'm
just like
sure it's
whether
wish
it's got the
fulfillment.
stepsister twist like from the one last season, but yeah, I don't know. This one I hope is not quite as bad as some of the
This
other ones, which I agree are
One
very.
doesn't really have a lot of fan service with that. I think they just use that trope as a mean to like force the two characters to interact with each other.
Yeah,
Because before then they were just like, they never really talked. They just saw each other practicing across.
and this
the
is
field
like a
and stuff.
manga that started a while ago.
So,
it started in 2021, I think.
it's-
So, but
It's not like the harem thing where they're like, people live together now, get ready for a bunch of wacky hijinks stuff.
yeah,
it's,
exactly.
it's pretty tame in that regard.
I wanted to point out that trend because I think it's interesting. All right, next
Yeah.
up is Ao no Miburo, or
The Blue Wolves of Miburo.
Right. So it's really hard for me to separate my opinion of this manga from my opinion of its really, really bad scanslation that I had to read. But I'm pretty sure this is just like classically bad. The characters felt very poorly defined, like the fights were ugly. This is like it's like a samurai thing, and they're like it's kind of like a samurai gangster show. It almost felt like, in the sense that like they're starting up a good guy group of samurais to clean up Kyoto, and the main guy with the white hair has just joined them, or something to that general effect. But like I said, the fights are ugly. The character designs look really nasty like half the time. It's also and this is just something that happens to me because I read a lot of the first chapters of manga, and you start to notice these patterns. But it's one of those where, like, in the first chapter, the main character like just starts yelling and screaming and crying about his motivations, and it really does not earn that high of an emotional moment that early on, They talk a lot about this vision of Kyoto being like violent and full of injustice, but like all we really actually see in the chapter is like a seemingly pretty isolated kidnapping incident. So, it's a samurai manga. You're not gonna scare me with like a failed kidnapping. Like people, like there were like dozens of beheadings in the beginning of Nige Jozu, and
Yeah.
that's Nige Jozu. So
which is
you
its
gotta
unique thing. For sure.
But like, yeah, I'm just saying you got to do a little bit more than like, oh, they almost kidnapped that girl or whatever. So
Yeah, I see what you
and there's like this, and it like opens on this like really idyllic restaurant scene that totally undermines everything, and you're like expecting the other shoe to drop, and then it kind of never does. So I could imagine this maybe developing into a but the fights are good kind of anime, but I'm not seeing a whole lot of promise here, and I can't really recommend it.
I'm gonna be real with you. I don't think I can bring myself to care about a middling budget Rurouni Kenshin knockoff when we already have an actual middling budget Rurouni Kenshin adaptation running. So this just doesn't look very good or fleshed out. I don't care. Especially with you telling me that the manga is not very good either. I can't bring myself to care about this.
Good, because I was about to say that like Nige Joe's was already occupying like the historical slot for me this year, so I'm like, I'm fine without this. Like, unless you guys say when it's really good, and it sounds like everyone's out. So
I would rather just watch Kenshin. Seriously, it's
Yeah.
And I've read that already, but I don't know. How about you, Tim?
This does not look like it's going to be very good.
Yeah,
Great.
So I would probably say we should pass on this. This studio in general is just like
yeah. That's the studio hasn't done very much.
mid, and so yeah,
Who are they?
Maho Film is the name of it.
Okay.
they've done a lot of slop,
Gotcha. Okay.
and the director's also done a lot of slop.
Great. Okay.
All right. Next up is Chikyu no Undo ni Tsuite, which is, I don't remember the English name.
Orb on the movements of the earth.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so Chi opens up on another shot of like yet another isekai circle town in some nightmarish alternate dimension called Poland. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Poland.
And the and the astronomers of Poland are being persecuted by the church for a growing belief that the Earth revolves around the sun. And anyway, so this is like I wanted to keep the joke going. I kind of can't. This is just a historical fiction kind of thing. And it's not very well written, is the problem. Like, the main character is smart, you can tell because he says logic or logical in his internal monologue at least once a page. Like, his big introductory monologue turned me off of this manga harder than any other part of it. And they end on like what's supposed to feel like a big philosophical discussion with like him and a mentor figure. And like, these kind of talks are the heart and soul of this particular subgenre of historical fiction, the very like heady kind of pseudo-intellectual kind, and it just didn't do anything for me. Like, this ain't Vinland Saga season 2, and I'm not gonna watch it.
So I think with all of that being said, I'm obligated to give this a cursory glance try just because it's a Studio Madhouse production. And it's a unique setting and premise for an anime. I will admit I wasn't in love with the visuals from the trailer. I think the art style is a little wonky, and especially the main character. He looks weirdly old for his age. But I think
I'm sure there's gonna be like a time skip or something.
I
like
think
it'll look
that
normal.
it's an interesting enough premise. What Logan said rings some alarm bells for sure. I was interested in this before going into the season. I'd heard about it. It's been a while since we got a good Madhouse show, so hey, I don't know. I'm interested. I'm at least gonna check it out.
I mean, we just had Free Run.
Sure. That was a year ago.
No, it's been a while.
I mean, like, I'm getting
That
like
house doesn't do
Pluto
too much.
vibes from the show. Like, I don't know, like this.
No. It's a completely different setting, and there's nothing.
Well, but like the aesthetic of it, Anyway, so this does look like very serious, which can be a turnoff for me a lot of the times. But like Chris said, like, I want to give this show a chance because of the Madhouse production. The Madhouse is also producing another show this season, and like, it doesn't look as good.
Yeah, that
So,
must
like,
be it. I don't know if that's a B team or if they're both just maybe not.
Most likely a B team thing.
But yeah, I'm again, it's just an interesting, unique premise, and I have to give that a shot for stuff.
Yeah.
It's not in high school in Japan, and so it's like, all right, let's see. I think religious hereticism is a very interesting topic for an anime to try to cover. Well, we'll see.
I mean, like, this is probably like based on a true story, kind of. Like,
I mean,
is it like a historical drama?
In that, like, astronomers were persecuted by the church in this era. I don't think it's based on any specific true story, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any other thoughts, Tim, on this one?
I mean, I know Juan talking about the production things because it's Madhouse, but like, I wouldn't be expecting anything too crazy from them. Like, a lot of people will like, oh, Madhouse has to be like One Punch Man or Free Run quality for everything they do from now on, but it's like, that's not.
No, the
case.
Madhouse has been
No.
pretty weak the past like 6 years. I get it. I'm not trying to say that it's at least.
Yeah, I know
worth
what you know,
checking
but I know
out.
like a lot of like normies are like
Expect
going
it,
with
yeah.
that mindset for like, oh, Madhouse means this
The-
quality these now.
The reason
but,
Frieren is
it's-
as good as it was is because the director working on it is one of the best in the industry and had a really good team working with him, more so than the studio itself. But I mean, like, obviously they did
But yeah,
a great job.
This
so.
this premise seems really interesting, fascinating. It definitely stands out among like all the other like C's of anime, so I definitely want to give it a chance.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
TBD. Okay, next one is probably the biggest new show this season. Which
I'm
is,
excited to hear Logan's thoughts on
Dandadan.
this.
Yep, Dan. So I guess I'll go ahead and start with the premise of this one. So it's kind of basically what happens in chapter 1 is that I don't know, like spirit believer, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. Like a girl who is really into like the spirit kind of occult, stuff, and a boy who is really into the UFO kind of occult stuff. They meet up and then they kind of get into an argument, and then like to prove the other wrong, they go to these like haunted areas, and then they both accidentally wind up proving each other right, because it turns out that both aliens and spirits are real. And then they kind of get superpowers, but they're the like kind of superpowers that also suck and screw with you. So they, as best I can tell, the rest of the manga is going to be them trying to like figure out how to get back to normal. And there was a reveal at the end of the first chapter that absolutely cracked me up. I thought it was a really funny gag. A lot of it cracked me up, really. I thought that this was funny, and I thought the action was really exciting. The posing is dynamic. The monster designs are really cool. It's pulpy, which is what you say when something's trashy, but you like it anyway, you know? So I think I'm looking forward to this. I will say going into the adaptation is just a little bit scary, since the best parts about this to me are visual. And that's, you know, the one thing that isn't getting directly carried over. This is a first-time director, but he's been around in the Science Saru system for long enough, and the trailer looks like more than nice enough that I'm expecting to like this. And I think there's a chance that I might even love this. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. There's just like that one little bit of apprehension in the back of my brain that's holding me back from like a really serious recommendation for it. But I think people should watch this. Yeah.
Did you only read the first chapter?
I only read the first. Actually, I think I read the second chapter too.
Okay. So I actually bought the manga for like the first volume of the manga. So like I read all of that, like in anticipation for this show. And good God, if it wasn't for our stupid 2-core rule, the like, you know, rolling over to the other season, I'm pretty sure this would be my anime of the year.
Well, let's not say things about that about a manga that you haven't watched an adaptation for yet. Like, relax.
Dude, well, like from the previews, from reading the first volume, this is like the best thing I've ever read. Like, it is insanely good. It is very good. It is like 1000% my alley, and I adore this, and I cannot wait to see more of this. I am probably gonna binge the manga as soon as I can, whenever the first season is done. Hell, there's gonna be a special screening going on at the time of this recording, like this weekend. And I'm absolutely gonna go to that.
Oh, so you're gonna cheat, you motherfucker?
Oh, 100%.
I'm not gonna
Are you kidding me?
I'm not gonna go see the theatrical. I don't want to pay money for a show that's coming out in a couple of weeks. I'll be fine.
But like in a theater though?
Yeah, it's cool, but whatever. I am very excited for this. Science Saru has been on a pretty hot streak, and honestly, and I this is gonna sound bad when I say it, especially so Logan, forgive me. I hope you know I mean well. Honestly, the post-Yuasa era at Science Saru, not that his era was bad, of course it was excellent, but the post-Yuasa era at Science Saru has been kind of amazing. So they've really put out a lot of extremely good. Yeah, he's not, I don't know if he's still there, but he doesn't really lead shows anymore. He's been doing movies.
Okay.
So like I think the last thing he did was whatever the rock opera was called.
Oh, the rock opera one.
You know, yeah. So yeah, anyway, I'm excited. I think Science Saru is the best team to get this adaptation, and I'm fucking ready for it. I'm excited. I'm sure it's gonna be peak. Anything else?
Tim, you got any extra thoughts?
No, it's definitely one of my highly anticipated, just of how, you know, wacky and crazy it is. I don't know too much about, because I've been trying to avoid spoilers, but like,
Yeah, me too.
the PV looks absolutely insane. I don't know what's going on with like the grandma and the weird surgery thing, but it just looks like a very wild time.
You're talking about the actual grandma or the ghost grandma?
Turbo Granny, whatever.
Turbo Granny is the ghost grandma, yeah.
Yeah, okay. It seems like a very wacky, kind of crazy cast, and I'm
God,
always down
she's
for
so fucking
some of
hot.
that.
Oh my God.
What a funny word to
Okay,
say.
Juan.
Anyway, we'll get there when we get there. Okay. Yeah. It's
Most
a big one.
anticipated show for me, probably for all year.
Yeah,
And
I'm pretty sure we've all been like very much looking forward to this. Also, the marketing team has Netflix has really been, or is it Netflix or Crunchyroll?
I think Crunchyroll.
It's Netflix, I believe.
Either way, they've been marketing the hell out of this one.
It's
I think
Netflix.
they know it's a hit, and they know the
Yeah, because it was in the Netflix leak.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah, there was a Netflix leak.
Oh,
that's right. The fucking Creepy Nuts are doing the OP, and like people were It was all over TikTok and Twitter whenever it
song.
came out. I'm like, I'm gonna ignore it for
I also
now.
haven't watched it yet. Yeah. All right.
This also could be one quote, Juan, so it could be you animated you.
Well, that's the thing. Like, because of Frieren also airing its second core this
you're
year.
saying the previous year stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, because of that, I think I might have to give it to Frieren, but that's spoilers.
You're not
Moving
supposed
on.
to talk about that shit. Keep it to your damn self. Except I'm writing notes. I'm gonna get my predictions right this year. Let's go. Okay. All right. Next up is Gokan ni Itara Ona ga Inaka Kata Hanashi, which was kind of a extremely confusing premise. So Logan, clear it up.
Well, English name first
All right.
is How I Attended an All Guys Mixer.
Yeah, they really do not make this easy to understand. And I don't really know what the constituency for a manga like this is, so I'm just going to describe it as best I can and sort of let you, the listener, figure out if you're going to like it by yourself. So, 3 college guys get invited to a mixer with some girls at their college. And then when they arrive, the girls are all dressed in the uniforms at the cross-dressing bar that they work at. And then
That was not
yes.
clear in any way, shape, or form in either
Really?
the text
I got
or
that pretty
the
clearly.
In the second PV, it clears up a lot.
Okay,
Yeah, it's
clearly not the one I
You gotta
watched.
watch the PVs.
I watched
thought
both of
this
them
was
because
yaoi.
I was very confused.
I thought this was yaoi, but it's actually
Yeah.
heterosexual.
And you know what? If straight yaoi is what gets you going, I can't really blame you for drinking whatever garbage they give you, because that's not a very common fetish to have. Like, you must be the loneliest pervert in the world, but this unfortunately is garbage. Like, there aren't characters so much as there are character designs. Like, not even clearly like the main guy and the main girl really have much in the way of personalities. The jokes aren't funny. Like, it's not even really all that salacious, because it all takes place at a bar or whatever. It's not like not like anything really raunchy is gonna happen. So I don't even know if it's gonna click with someone like beyond the level of this very specific fetish in any way. And yeah, I can't recommend this.
Well, Logan, I think you're seeing this more of it as an ecchi thing, and like I'm pretty sure, like from the previews that I could tell, like it looks more of a romance than an
No,
ecchi.
I think Logan
It
is
looks
saying it's
much more
catering to.
comedic than like
I'm okay.
trying to focus
what
too
I'm
much on like, oh, it's 6 guys.
What
or,
I'm
3
saying
guys
what
and
I'm
just
saying
this
what
person.
I'm saying what I'm saying is that the comedy blows.
Yeah.
So there's
Okay.
nothing good. So
Yeah.
the
Fair.
only
That-
appeal to
that's a
this
fair complaint.
Is
is
the
it being
kink,
kind of
yeah.
a fetish thing.
Which it definitely is. Like it's a
I also
cross-dressing
think that
hot
well,
girl.
like the completely wrong targeted audience for this. So, my own may vary.
Well, hold on.
It's what I don't understand is how they've stretched the premise of a 15-minute episode into an entire manga and anime, because again, the premise and the title itself covers what could only possibly happen in the first 15 minutes, and I just don't understand how there is enough there to then stretch into a series. Like,
Well-
yeah, they go to the mixer. What happens tomorrow? The mixer's over. Like, I don't know, man.
Well, okay, like from the PV, it looks like they go on dates and stuff, and like they learn more about the girls and like how
Yes,
they
I
got
can
into the job and like.
extrapolate- I can extrapolate a narrative. I just don't think that the show does a very good job advertising what it's going to be about.
No, it's that it. Like reading the synopsis, I had no idea that they were girls. Watching the first PV, I didn't know that they were girls until the second PV. I'm like, oh, they're actually girls. Like, yeah, you're right. It does a terrible job advertising what it actually is. But like, now that I know what it is, I'm like, I'm interested. I want to see how they execute this. I want
crazy.
to give this an episode.
There's nothing here. There's just
Plus-
literally nothing here.
The girls are hot. Like, I mean, because they're all tomboys. They're all like different versions of tomboys. Like one's a sporty
I
one, one's like a
didn't
prince
register them
one.
as girls. So at any point when I watched the trailer, I mean, I guess the middle one is pretty, but I don't know. If you have fun with this,
I'll give this an
no
episode.
thanks on me.
Who knows? Maybe it'll be a hit. Most likely, it's not though.
Yeah. Anyway, it seems very shallow. All right, next up is Hyakushou.
Wake up, babe! It's 2008.
Yeah, for
And I mean
real.
that literally. This is a manga from 2008.
Okay, that's why it looks like that. I see.
Yeah. And I've kind of missed this style of character design. Like, there's a lot of detail to the hair that you just don't see anymore. Like, the main girl's braids in the manga look, like, really well shaded, and I like them. But I have not, however, missed this particular set of character dynamics. One of the main guys is Rude. The other one is basically his puppy, and neither of them ever really explain things to the main girl. Like, to the extent that I received additional narration and I still don't really understand what the plot of this manga is. Like, like, she's a reporter and they're from a country, I think, that doesn't have gods, and they're spirit detectives and they're trying to find their gods, I think. And I think that this is all, like, meant to create intrigue. Like, you're not supposed to understand everything. You're kind of supposed to be on her level. But mostly it's just confusing. And the fight scenes especially are completely illegible. And the comedy is, I'm going to say, of its time. Which is to say that it's just all the same jokes that we were doing over and over again back in 2008. And it's just wacky, slapsticky, you know, in the way that manga did back then. And this is just, like, unless you're, like, really jonesing for, like, a trip back to middle school, I don't think that this really has much of a constituency here in 2024.
I don't know, man. I don't really love the character designs. I think it's definitely of its time. I have a feeling like this manga looks a lot better than the anime does.
I have not seen the anime in the slightest. I want to confirm that when I
it doesn't look good. The color shading is really weird, and it doesn't really work, and the designs are kind of goofy, and it's just kind of ugly, unfortunately.
It looks really dated. I don't know if I want to watch this.
The combination of, like,
if Tim does not want to watch this, that is, like, that's a sign.
Off-putting art style, incomprehensible premise. There's really no draw to it at all, unless you're really into the, like, vibe or the pretty boys. It just feels like, I feel like if you're gonna do a manga that looks like this, you need to lean into the art style a little bit more instead of doing this, like, half-assed modernization that still is using the, like, a more modern way of designing the characters while still clearly tracing over what they look like in the original manga. I don't know. It's hard to describe what I'm talking about. I could have seen a vision where they looked better, is what I'm trying to say. But they just kind of look ugly.
I mean, this just looks like a generic pretty boy show to me, and I'm not the audience for that, so.
Yeah, not much sauce there. Okay. Next up is Hitori Bochi no Isekai Kyoryaku.
Or Loner in Another Life. Do you want to take this, Chris, or do you want me to take it?
Oh, is this one of the few that this is not? Okay. Has there ever been a good My Whole Class Got Teleported isekai? I think literally all of them are bad. I think it's a defunct premise, and I'm tired of it. And I don't care about the fucking incel one loser that gets the worst skill that's actually the best skill in his class. And I don't know. I think in this one, maybe not everyone hates him like they do in most of the other ones, but I don't know.
I mean, it does look like it becomes like a battle royale situation, but like, I don't care.
This is just premium isekai slop here. It doesn't look.
I mean, it's funny how the whole trope of like a whole class isekai is like a thing, but I don't think we've seen a single one because like they've all just looked bad.
The people on Mal are labeled as gal leader, nudist girl.
Yes,
nerd
not a single
jockey.
character in the show actually has a name.
Why the fuck do they not have
titles.
names?
Well, I mean, like Battle Royale was kind of the same thing, where like they were just kind of like their character trope.
That's a little different. Let's not make.
We don't have the link with F. You know?
Yeah, let's not make comparisons to Battle Royale. Anyway, Tim, do you have any reason to believe that this has any merit at all?
Not particularly. It just seems like isekai slop.
Yeah,
so, like,
if you're into
you know what
trashy
you're getting yourself
isekai,
into.
yeah,
then,
exactly.
You know, I don't think anything about it is like phenomenal. So.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Next up is Hoshifura Oku. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Okuko.
Hoshifuru Okoku no Nina.
There we go.
Or Nina the Starry Bride.
You just gotta be confident.
Yeah.
I think it's really funny when a rags to riches story fails to rise above its station, just in a cosmic sort of way. This is my least favorite type of first chapter, the oops all premise chapter. It's all set up and very plotty, and none of it really seems to matter all that much other than getting us to the point where, here's the premise, she looks like a princess who died in an accident recently, and so they're kind of disguising her as a princess so that the king doesn't find out or something.
Oh, that was not made clear at all from the premise or trailer. Interesting.
That's incredible. That's the only thing about this manga is that she's pretending to be a princess. And also, it's the way the princess dies, like, you kind of assume it would be like an assassination or something, but the way it's presented is just like her carriage fell off a cliff. That just cracked me up when they like just pan over a cliff and there's a carriage at the bottom and her brother is like, "Ooh, this is bad."
Okay,
And I was like,
was she not a slave that was purchased?
Yes,
She
yes,
was?
she
Okay.
was.
Okay.
Okay,
It was
no,
not
and
that she was a slave, that was
I was
purchased
just
to
that's
be
asking,
the
Logan
fake
hadn't mentioned it
princess.
yet. And I'm like,
That-
cool.
yes,
more,
but that's
more
all
anime
the
slavery.
well, that's all the stuff that I'm talking about is all the plotty setup stuff that doesn't actually matter. Like she was she was an orphan, and then like she was hanging out with two other orphans who were siblings, and then one of them died, and then the other one just sold her into slavery just cause. But it's not really slavery because it's like she's being a princess or whatever, and it's like none of that matters at all. To like, I read the second chapter because I hated the first chapter so much that I just kind of wanted to see what the manga was actually like. And then, the rest of it, it's just kind of like, especially with the like rise of the otome isekai, we have gotten plenty of unfit for high society socialites in recent years. So there's really not a whole lot going on in the actual manga that this is. And then, the first chapter, it's barely the manga that this is at all. So yeah, I don't know. I can't recommend this.
Yeah, I this doesn't seem like it's doing anything particularly unique or interesting. Unfortunately, it's like Logan said, an oversaturated genre, and I'm have a hard time believing that actually watching her try to navigate being a princess is going to be particularly interesting, especially because the plot stakes don't seem, I don't know, very good or like the princess is dead. Like, I guess they could find out she's a fake. I don't know. I don't know, man.
I mean, this is just a generic
mediocre.
shoujo romance to me. Like,
I don't even know if it's a romance. I guess it is.
No, it is because she has like two princes fighting over her.
Oh,
Like, yeah.
well, there we go. We figured it out. The hook.
Yeah. It's a shoujo romance. Like, whatever. We're not the audience. Let's move on.
It's the director for Kizuna no Alol, so it's gonna be fire.
I do not. Oh wait, is that the Kizuna Eye anime?
Yeah.
It is.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah.
Do you have any
They're
other
sending out
thoughts
the
about
big
this,
guns.
Tim?
I don't think Logan actually got to like the actual meat of the show. Like, I think what he read was like a very convoluted, roundabout way of introducing the character, which I agree. It's kind of dumb to like, oh, let's try to make a new, unique way to introduce this generic concept. But I kind of want to give a few episodes just to see what she actually does in her position. I'm not expecting great quality out of this studio director, but like, who knows? Maybe the story.
I don't. I also, and I hate to have to be harping on this every single time, I don't love the slave girl falls in love with captor trope, which this is like technically that. It's a little bit abstracted, but he did purchase her as a slave, and I think he's the love interest. So I don't know. That is always a little icky to me. Okay. Next up is Kabushiki Geisha Magi Lumiere.
Or Magic
glad
Lumiere,
you
Magical
read
Girls
that.
Inc. Feel
Man,
good.
I had a really good insult tuned up for this one, and then it went and spoiled that by actually being kind of good. The premise is like definitely hacky. Like, bro, what if being a magical girl was like a job, bro? But like the magic, and yes, the magic is that annoying, like I summon a shape in the air and shoots things type magic that's gotten very popular recently, and I'm starting to get quite sick of. But it makes up for that with an actually charming cast of characters and some nice monster designs. I like especially the big pile of eyes that they have to fight in the second battle. battle. And they've done, like, the author has done some thinking clearly about the choreography and the way that powers can interact, and I never actually introduced the premise of the show. So, like, I mean, it's sort of, I gave it to you a little bit. The magical, what if being a magical girl was a job? So you've got this one girl who has been working for a small magical girl agency for a long time or whatever, and like it's like a small startup thing, and they're trying to get big or whatever. And then you've got this other girl who's like, she seems like a recent college grad who's hitting the job interview circuit and kind of blowing it. And they have like a meetup situation, and she winds up working for the Magical Girl organization as a magical girl. But I think the two main girls like play off each other very nicely. The college grad girl is like smart, but she's not confident, and she knows a lot of stuff. She's very good at memory. She's very good at memorizing things and like following instructions, but she's not so good at like thinking on her feet per se. And then the more seasoned magical girl is like good in the clutch, but she doesn't think ahead and she forgets stuff and stuff like that. I think that they have a kind of good rapport. I'm not like madly in love with this. I know I'm talking about it a lot. Like the corporate satire that they get into a little bit is fine, but the more they focus on it, the more I am begging for them to cut back to either some action or just some characters hanging out. But I think I'm actually willing to take a chance on this one, especially since this season seems to be kind of a lighter one. I think that I'm willing to at least give this a shot.
I like this trailer. I thought it was a fun premise. It's not like extraordinarily unique or anything, but I like that it's older people in college and not children. And I thought it had some style. It had some sauce. I thought it looked like it was trying to be, you know, I think it had some nice visual comedy in the trailer as well. I always like when people try, and there's more expressive animation there. Some of the effects were a little sus, but just like in a compositing kind of way, but not bad enough to like make me not want to watch it. I'm excited for this. I think this looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, this show just looks like dumb fun.
I don't even know if it's
Absolutely
dumb
watching
fun. It might just be fun.
Yeah, I think it's normal fun.
I mean, like the
Normal fun.
whole the way the power system works. I'm like Logan said, like I'm getting kind of tired of like the generic summoning circle, summoning powers, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, like this does look fun. Like I think this would be like a great group show.
How about Tim?
I kind of agree with one that it seems a little bit on the slow side, which is fine because I think I would enjoy that. I think the effects CGI thing bothered me a little bit more in the PV than Chris did. Like the monsters were fine, but like when they had like I don't know the beams in the PV which was blocking it, it was very.
It's weird. It doesn't look like it belongs in the show.
It doesn't. Yeah, it stands out. It doesn't. It takes me out of
ugly.
it because it looks. It doesn't blend, so that kind of.
That's what I mean by
a little
compositing.
bit.
Yeah, it's a little wonky, but.
But other than that, I think the premise is cool. There's not much to go on other than the fact that it's pretty much a brand new director and studio that's kind of doing it.
Moe? I mean, it's JC Staff too, is what I have here, but is it Studio
Yeah.
Moe?
And the director has literally done like nothing.
Nothing. Interesting. We'll see.
So it'll be interesting to see how this one turns out for though.
All right. Next up is Kekkon Suru te Honto desu ka?
365 days
All
to the
right.
wedding.
And that's the important title. So, quick history lesson. Back in 2020, there was a Twitter web manga that caught on called This Croc Will Die in 100 Days. It was like a daily 4-coma comedy thing about a crocodile with the ever-increasing threat of death, and it was really quite lovely. I liked it a lot. The concept was immediately devoured, like such sweet roadkill, by a flock of aspiring rom-com vultures. This Gyaru will date the otaku in 100 days. These two will be married in 100 days. And of course, a Yuri story about a girl who insists it's impossible for two girls to get together, completely failing within 100 days. In the midst of all of this is 365 days to the wedding, which began near the end of the Croc's life. I was prepared for this to be like completely mercenary hack work displaced in time by about 4 years for some reason, but it does have a couple of things actually going for it. It wasn't daily, It's not a 4-coma, and it actually does have a pedigree. This is the author who also wrote The World God Only Knows.
Oh.
I think that some of us were into this in high school. I never watched
never
it,
watched
but
it.
I know that
I watched
it
like
has a
some of
decent
season
enough reputation. And I also, I feel like I should probably just explain the premise here. So basically, these two are people working at an office, doing like indescribed office work. And one member of the office next year is going to be sent to open the new, what's it called, like headquarters or something in Siberia. And they're apparently just picking this person at random, irrespective of what their job actually does. But, get this, it turns out that if somebody's married, they get a pass because, you know, you're married and you don't want to have to uproot your entire life and move it to Siberia, right? And so the plan is for these two to pretend to fall in love and get married. And spoiler alert, I suspect they are going to actually fall in love and get married at
Imagine
some
if they
point.
didn't.
That would be the best. That would be the best. A loveless marriage of trying not to go to Siberia.
I feel like that's more common than you think.
I think that if I was in their shoes and I got picked, I would just quit my job. I get that it's the premise and you have to kind of go along with it, but like,
No, I think I'd do the same thing. I'd pretend to marry someone.
it's so elaborate. just like, there's got to be
Hey,
other
Chris,
ways
you want to get
around
married
it.
so I can avoid being moved to Siberia?
It's to the Russian Alps or to the snow with you away. Anyway,
Be gone.
I get that it's
Anyway,
a silly premise.
hold on. I have more to say though. I just wanted to.
Yeah. Go for it.
So that was all the history. So the actual manga itself, I actually kind of like main character guy. Like
That's
he's
crazy.
not the classic. He's not the classical like I can't talk to girls type of social reject. He's spacey and a little slow, and that makes it hard for him to talk to others. And I think that it's
You relate to him?
a more nuanced portrayal of a usually stock archetype than we usually get, and I did kind of like that. I wish I could say the same thing about main character girl. Like, she may someday become a great character, but in chapter 1, she just likes maps and can't cut loose around other people, and she likes maps, and she really likes maps. And the jokes aren't really all the way there, and I don't really care about their fake relationship developing into a real relationship, but especially for something I thought was going to be, like, total trend slop, this was better than I expected. I still can't recommend it, though, but I can, however, recommend one page of the single cutest cat I have ever seen in manga. Okay, maybe not the cutest, but one of the cutest for sure. The cat's face is a big reveal, and he's just adorable and the cutest thing in the entire world, and I wish the manga were just pictures of him. But it's not. So I'm not
Chris, can you
going
make sure to
keep
put a
reading
picture of the
it.
cat up on the screen for this episode?
I'll see if I can find it. If Logan give me the panel, that I can throw it up.
Yeah, I'll go hunt around for it. But that's all I have to say about this one,
Logan,
so.
you gave us that history lesson about the whole like X days until this thing. You didn't talk about one day until this gorilla dies.
Yeah, the greatest example of all
No,
time.
dude, look, I don't think anything should be held to the standards of this gorilla will die in one day. You know,
Chris, can you also
that's
post that
too-
one on the
Maybe.
screen?
I think I'd rather our audience. Maybe I'll put a link in the description. You should just go read it. It's
You-
one of the
you should read it
greatest
for
manga of all
yourself.
time. Anyway, so this is a fun little idea. I maybe could consider watching it if it has like merit and it is enjoyable to watch. I don't think there's any major complaints about the idea. You know, I feel like it's one of those stories that I kind of feel like I know how it's gonna go, but it could be good.
I'm surprised you're interested in this, Chris, because like I'm watching the PV, I'm like, oh, this production doesn't look good.
Yeah, it's the studio doesn't do very much. I don't know if it's ugly, that might put me off a bit as well. But
Like, it just feels like very
Slim
like by the
pickings.
numbers. Like I just don't sense any passion from this show myself. You can
I
watch
mean,
episode one, and
Logan said he doesn't hate it, which is pretty high praise. So
That
I
is-
mean,
that is very
I,
high
hold on.
Logan.
There are
is like-
things that I like about it. I don't
Okay.
know if I would really recommend it. Like, this is don't put on the news that I like this. Actually, that's all I'm saying.
breaking news: Logan
this is-
likes A rom-com. Whoa.
This is as high as the praise I will get from a romance show from you.
I don't know if that's true.
So, I don't think I've ever seen Logan like an actual romance show.
I don't know.
I
We'll
liked
see.
a reasonable amount of the Insomniacs one. This ain't Insomniacs, I'll
No,
tell you
it's
that
definitely
much.
not. Okay, I mean,
I'll let Chris watch episode 1, and if you come back, tell me it's that heat, then or not even that heat. Like you're like, yeah, I
watchable.
think you'd like
it's
this.
gonna depend on how the season goes and what we
Yeah.
end up deciding on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not completely against it, I guess.
It looks kind of like those like cutesy wholesome kind of romance things, which we got a lot of this season. So there's probably a lot to go around. But it's also the same director who did Tonikaku Kawaii, so he can handle this kind of story trope
Oh, okay.
nicely. So I'm kind of want to watch it for that. But I do know the studio is kind of like
Yeah, the studio is not
mid.
great.
So
I mean,
like-
we'll see how it like balances out.
From the looks of it, like the studio has only like worked on like
It looks like an old
anime.
studio that hasn't done much until recently. Yeah, like very
Yeah.
recently. Okay, next up is Kimi wa Meido-sama.
You Are Miss Servant.
Is this a Logan one?
It's a Logan one.
Yep, this is a Logan one.
Can I do a small intro?
Go ahead.
I guess.
Due to a weird translation of the Mal summary, or maybe I just misread it before I clicked on the trailer, for a brief moment I thought that the main character was a woman and this was a Yuri, and I was very excited, and then he was a man and I lost all interest. I'm going to continue. That's it.
What?
There was
Where
some
did you
pronoun.
see
There
anywhere-
was some pronoun thing where I thought that it was saying she and her, referring to the main character.
One day a girl knocks on his door and offers to be his maid.
I
I don't
don't
know
know.
what pronoun you're talking about.
don't know the. Anyway, I'm just saying. Like I said, I was
The
skimming.
heart wants
We
what
go
the
through all
heart
these.
wants.
We go
Chris
through
just
all
wanted
of
a
these.
Yuri.
Chris is,
I don't think
just
there's any
saying,
Yuri this
It
season.
would
Zaz are
be a much
leaking.
better one. Maybe that's just Dragon Maid. Okay, go ahead, Logan. Tell us.
There's not much to tell. A maid who is also an assassin. I think I had this exact idea in the 8th grade, and actually I think I'm owed royalties on it. This is a comedy, and it's not funny. That's my review of Kimi wa Meido-sama.
This has
Great.
surprisingly high production values based on the trailer, which is wild for a premise like this. This is another great example of the hot woman who lives with me all of a sudden trope. I don't know. I don't know if this one has enough narrative legs to actually be any good.
I mean, like to me, this just feels like a waifu's
Yeah,
of the
she's got a
season
very
kind of show.
distinct and unique character design. She's clumsy and bad at being a maid. That's very cute, I guess. But she's also a sexy assassin. I mean, like, Yours very popular from Spy Family, and that's basically who this is. Just kind of a knockoff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, there is a really cute dog in the PV.
yeah,
It's adorable.
very cute. I think that this is going to ride or die on the dynamic of the main character and how he is written, and there is nothing that would let me believe that he would be good or interesting to watch. So, I don't know.
I want to give the show a try.
I could believe that this was good. If someone told me this is good, I'd be like, okay, I can maybe see it. Like I said, I think the animation was kind of nice in the trailer. We'll see.
It feels too much like waifu bait to me. So
It's definitely
fine.
waifu bait, but sometimes waifu bait
It
can
is
be
waifu
good.
bait, but
I mean, like the Russian
exactly.
girl, that's like absolutely waifu bait, and for some
Yeah.
reason, it's like one of the highest rated shows this season.
Did you ever watch it?
No,
Yeah, then we don't. I mean, we're not going
Tim's
to talk
watching
about it
it.
later. This is not the episode to talk
We can
about.
save that for the
Yeah.
different episode.
the review episode, yeah.
Okay. If you're into maids, obviously, like up your alley, go for it, King. But
I mean,
otherwise, I don't know.
I can be your maid.
Oh, true. All right. Next up is are we talking about Kinoko Inu?
Kinoko Inu, yeah. I'll talk. I'll
Yes.
enter this one since you introduced the last one. So this is a very cute and wholesome show. A mushroom dog shows up to cheer people up who are feeling depressed. I think that's kind of the whole story. I mean, like I think there's like some sort of like inciting incident in the beginning. Like I think like
Yes,
someone's
he's
like
a
grandpa
picture book-
dies.
He's a picture book author, and his dog died.
Oh,
His
and his dog
long-term
died.
dog died, and
Yeah.
then this dog comes. So and again, this looks more like a Pokemon than a dog, but like I would say, dog is in air quote. It looks like a bear than a dog.
Kind of.
But it is cute. The
It's
actual
adorable.
mushroom dog is very cute.
He's
you know what's not
adorable.
cute? any of the human characters. I think the human characters are hideous in this show. And it honestly is making me not want to watch it because they are so incredibly off-putting.
I want to give this an episode.
Bad.
No, the humans look
The main guy looks
ugly.
Weird.
This is a pretty
It looks
ugly
a little
art
off
style.
model, but I wouldn't say it's like hideous.
No, I'm like, I hate to do this to you guys. But like, what are we doing here?
Oh no!
Actually, I don't even have to fucking edit this one in here. I'll just
you can just zoom in on that
pull
one.
it up. 1 second. Sorry.
I mean, that's just character design. She say always look ugly in those.
I don't know, man. Anyway, TBD.
I want to give this an episode. Like
I'm not sure I do.
I think the premise itself, like just being like really cute and wholesome, like dog cheer you up, and I'm like, I want to be cheered up by a dog.
Right. I don't know. It has to have a little bit more to it than that, but we'll see. Comfy, feel good show, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up is Mahotsukai ni Naranaka Kata Ononoko no Hanashi.
A story of a girl that was unable to become a mage.
Very long name.
So this one has a very interesting story. So way back in 2018, a bunch of like companies got together and decided they wanted to make 3 animes. And they announced the 3 shows, and then 4 years went by and like nothing happened. Everybody thought the project died. And then suddenly out of nowhere, one of the projects, Sakugan, which you guys should know.
Oh yeah.
The main abyss method that one. That's the first project suddenly like came to life and got produced and made. And then 6 years later, after this project was first announced and everybody thought it was dead, this one came back to life randomly, and they just started dumping materials for it. And we got this magical girl show about a girl who was like top of her class in middle school, and she wanted to go to this high school where she could like become a royal mage or something. But for some reason, she like flunked her tests for the high school, so she like failed. So now she has to like, in her like dropout class thing, she has to like find out how to achieve her goal now with her like friends and stuff. It is a very unique color palette.
Yeah, I like the art style a lot. I think it looks really nice.
It's not like the most amazing thing, but it's very cool and it's very nice. I like it a lot. I'm a little worried about productions for this show, just because it looks nice now, but like it's JC staff, and JC staff has like
they're doing 5 shows this season.
10 shows.
No,
this season.
I only see 5. What are the other ones?
They're doing from last season. They have 2.5D, which is continuing on. They have Fairy Tail, which is probably going to continue on. And they have Delcode Nurse, that's going to continue on. They have Murai no Koi, which aired like 2 weeks ago. Mahou 299, Duel Master Lost, which is like kind of a kid's show, but kind of not a kid's show. I know it was a kid's show, but then they made it like grown up.
Yeah.
They're doing the Magic Illumina. They're doing this show. They're doing Dungeon Mesh, not Dungeon Meshi, DanMachi.
Yeah.
And then they're doing the Aku Reijo Dragon Emperor thing. So they have 10 shows airing at the same time. So, which I don't think I've ever seen a studio ever do before.
Did you just say 10?
Yeah.
Yes.
We were just going through them. I don't know how that's possible. I don't know what production schedule they could possibly have to justify this many shows going on. It is insane.
I mean, it's
It
probably why
doesn't
the
make me
whole
worry about any of the ones that I was going to watch, which are really just the 2 magical, or this one and the magical girl one, and the rest of them are
you could
not.
kind of already see it being a little bit rough in the other magical girl one with the composition, but like
I can't believe they're trying
both
to do
JC
this.
staff?
Yes,
they're all JC
every single one of
staff.
these is JC staff one.
I mean, like I did notice that JC staff is like on the name of a bunch of these, but like I didn't notice it on the 2 magical girl ones.
Not the first magical girl one, just the
Just this
office one.
This one and then the magic.
Yeah, but the
one,
magical girl one is a co-production with Studio Moe also.
Okay.
But this one's pure JC staff. I don't know. That is concerning. We'll see, I guess, about how that ends up impacting all the individual shows. But that is I think the single most I've ever seen a studio in one season.
I think so as well.
That's fucked up. And I feel like most
the
of them
PV
don't even
looked
look
like
good.
it looked better than most of the other PVs that the other shows.
Oh,
have
yeah,
released, so it
this
has
looks pretty good.
potential. I like the art style. I like the premise. Seems kind of cool. I'm hoping maybe the third anime project one that's supposed to come out from Doku Kobo finally comes out in like the next 5 years, but we'll see. But yeah, it looks good. I'm looking forward to this one a lot.
I mean, like to me, like this just looks like Little Witch Academia, like
Yeah,
almost
that's
bar
what I
for
told
bar.
Chris, that it gave me like very surface level.
There've been a lot of
Little Witch
magical
Academia
school
5.
shows recently, and a lot of them have been kind of bad. But I'm definitely down to give it a
This-
shot.
This seems like a very like chill school, like which one?
We still gotta wait another year at least until Witch Hat It comes out. So I'll take whatever I can get, I guess. All right. Next up is
Wait. Before we move on, Chris, I want you to scroll over to the director's picture on Mal for the Mahotsukai show.
Which director?
What
You'll see it.
director? Or
The one that has like a selfie. Like
Yeah.
that's his picture. I think that's really funny that's his picture on Mal. That it's just a fucking selfie picture.
Yeah, that's him. He's got bangs.
Yeah.
Good for him.
He's just chilling.
Like I mean, like
Yeah.
every other director on Mal, like they have like these like very professional photos, and then like this guy's just.
I don't know
selfie.
about that. Look at the other director.
No,
It's just
some of
him
it-
in the background.
It's just whatever people find on Google and upload. Yeah, it's not like they're
Yeah.
putting these pictures on there.
Like
Okay.
seiyus have like like profiles.
Yeah,
and headshots.
professional great headshots. While like everyone else in the anime industry just has like whatever random ass
Alright.
picture they take them off.
Yeah.
Logan, are you doing this one or?
Nope, it's a blank
okay,
one. So
this show pisses me off. Maybe
Really?
irrationally, yes.
really.
Why is he just some dude? Why isn't he like a demon?
Chris, what show is this?
This is Mao
Maho
2099.
Okay.
Like, so this is the premise. He is the demon lord, and he was asleep for a while. And he woke up, and it's 2099. It's like he's in Shinjuku Metropolis. It's cyberpunk. It's crazy. It's the future. And that's kind of a fun premise. I don't know. This just doesn't look very good to me. I don't know. I'm very tired of any sort of demon lord Mao-sama premise in basically anything. It's a toy that I think we need to take away from Japan and put it on the shelf for a long, long time. He's got a video game controller in his hand in the poster.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. He's just a guy. He's not a demon lord. He's just a guy.
Oh, he does.
He's literally just a dude. Like, and I'm sure he has magic and shit, but what? I don't know. He is not looking like a demon lord. He's looking like a pretty anime boy.
Well, Chris, if you look at his like profile, he looks like a demon lord there. Like it's like the demon lord McDonald's show. It's like that, like he has a demon lord form and a human form.
Okay. Well,
I saw this premise. I'm like, this sounds fucking cool, actually.
no, it doesn't. It's just an
Cyberpunk?
outfit, and he's got blue all around him. It's the same shit.
It's cyberpunk though, like like a fantasy character in cyberpunk. Like I think that's pretty cool. Now this is a JC Staff production, so my hopes of it has fallen down. But like I don't know. I think on just the premise alone, like I was kind of interested in this show. Now the PV doesn't show a lot either, though.
Yeah,
Like,
we see very little footage.
Yeah, the
which makes
PV's
me
not
a
very-
little bit concerned
The
about
PV's
the
not
future of the show,
very,
but
very,
premise-
very little.
I agree with the premise. I think the premise is kind of more interesting than your like.
The PV literally only
the
shows the main
normal-
character and two cute girls. And that's it.
Yeah,
and that's
the
all
PV
we've
does not
seen.
show much.
I think the synopsis seems a little bit more interesting than like all the other like average ones out there. Like I think the Demon Lord like going to sleep and waking up like in the future, the sci-fi thing. We have fantasy meets sci-fi might be a cool concept, but
I am inherently incredibly suspicious of this show. If someone
I
tells
don't
me that it's
expect it to
good,
be phenomenal. I think it'll probably be slightly above average of all the other,
I'm
Final
just
Fantasy
incredibly
stuff, but,
tired of
like,
Mao-sama framing. I'm sure Logan is too. He reads
He'll be
the mangas. Or like,
It should be dumb fun. So that's all I'm hoping out of this.
okay.
But the lack of footage is a bit concerning. So we'll see.
It's hard to muster enthusiasm. Okay. Next up is
Mecha Ude.
Mecha Ude.
I want to start this one.
This is not on
'Cause,
any chart.
It's not?
no,
It's definitely
hold
on
up.
Mal.
Yeah.
But no, so this is a battle shonen where alien mecha arms attach themselves to humans Some use it for good, some use it for evil. The MC's arm is special because it's sentient. This is just kill a kill.
Yeah,
But dude, something about this show, it really hypes me up.
that's interesting because I thought that the premise was incredibly dense and difficult to understand, kind of arbitrarily. And I don't know.
The arm is also voiced by Tomikazu Sugita. He's my boy. Like
They're
gotta.
still in high school. It's a little hard to tell if this has actual like any real originality to it, or if it's just kind of generic action punching. But I mean, I am willing to potentially check this out. Maybe. Obviously, I haven't seen the original OVA. This I don't know. Similarly, there's not that much to latch onto. I thought the PV looked okay.
I think it is like mostly CG, so like I think that might be like a turnoff for a lot of people.
It didn't look too heavily CG.
Well, I mean, the arms were definitely CG.
Yes, but it wasn't like in your face kind of CG.
Yeah,
I was
The
okay with
studio,
CG in
the
show.
studio has basically made nothing else.
They made this, and that's it.
Yeah.
essentially.
So
it's
this is a brand new studio.
it's not brand new. It's just they haven't done anything. I don't know. And so it's difficult to like I said, it's hard. Sawano was doing the music. I didn't realize that.
Oh yeah, so wow, even more Kill la Kill comparisons.
Yeah, for sure. And the director has also done basically nothing. I don't know. That's enough. You know, it's an original, and honestly, that should probably be enough for me to check it out.
It's really not much to go to base off of other than the PV, and the PV looks interesting enough for me that I will probably give it a try for sure.
Yeah.
Like, it's a unique premise and more, you know, not original, but like, you know, not your average slop. So I want to give it a try.
I bounce off a little bit of overly complicated sci-fi premises like these if it's just gonna depend on how that it's executed in that first episode. So we'll see.
The PV like it definitely interested me in it too. Logan, yeah, you did like no research on this, right? Like how good of a job are we convincing you to check out the show?
I don't want to watch it.
Okay, cool.
Okay. All right. Are we talking about Mirai no Koi?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
It's also not.
Unfortunately, I'm talking about Mirai no Koi, and
Yeah.
I want you to guess how I felt about the manga where the guy cuts his long black hair and dyes it blonde to get in his teacher's pants. That on every level, this manga was just complete poison to me. And I think that this also just sucks in a classical sense. Like, the jokes weren't very funny. The premise is, like, annoying. Yeah, I don't know. This was just bad.
Yeah, the great news is that it's a slideshow, and the trailer looks awful.
Oh, thank God.
Thank
God.
It's just
Couldn't have
another
happened
one
to a
of the
nicer
several
anime.
trailers I watched this season where I'm just like, man, they are hardly trying at all. It is barely animated, which is disappointing as usual. JC staff should maybe make less shows if they're not going to put effort into it. Also, this premise is stupid. So, yeah. Anything else on this one?
Well,
No, you
Logan
covered
hasn't said
everything I
anything
wanted
about
to
the
say.
show.
Yeah. Oh, guys, I have to
I
introduce
said
the show.
everything
I've not
about
said
the
a
show.
single
About.
word about this show.
No, I said everything about the show. A guy cuts his hair and dyes it blonde to get into his teacher's pants. That's the show.
Yeah, his teacher's obsessed with a fictional anime boy from a game, and so he dyes his hair to look like the anime boy because he thinks she'll be more into him if he does that. But it's still a
Cool.
teacher-student romance, so you know if that's your
And it's
thing.
also a JC Staff show, so I'm sure this is like at the bottom of the priority list of the
I
shows
don't know.
because
Maybe the PV
this
is just
looked
bad, and the show looks
bad.
better, but yeah, the PV looked awful.
it looked like a slideshow.
Yeah.
All right, we can move on.
I was to say anything else?
I don't know. I haven't gotten a chance to watch this yet, even though it's been out for a few weeks.
Not really.
But yeah, it came out like in September for some reason. But the people I did talk to watch it said that like it wasn't as bad as they thought. Like it is like a slideshow, but apparently it like works. The show like works around the slideshow where it kind of like adds to the comedy bit.
Okay, I have a hard time
So-
believing that sounds like cope to me personally, but yeah, sure, I guess. All right. Next up is Nageki no Boru Hei Ha Intai Shitai, which is
let this grieving soul retire. Woe is the weakling who leads the strongest party.
so the premise is that they're treasure hunters, and I don't know. I actually don't know what the fucking premise of this is. It looks really bad. It just looks like generic fantasy. It looks just like a really bad fantasy isekai slop. It's not even an isekai, I don't think, technically.
Yeah, I wrote down like, oh boy, I can't believe it's not isekai show.
I have this looks like dog shit and a really bad premise, which I don't know. It just seems incredibly generic. They're hunting treasure.
Yeah, we can just move on from this.
Or no, I think it's that he doesn't want to do it anymore or something. He wants to retire.
He made a promise while his friends go treasure hunting, but he wants to quit, but his friends don't. So he's trying to
what
find
a
a way
great
to
premise.
quit.
The main character hates what he's doing and is a huge pussy. I definitely want to watch it. All right, let's move on. Okay, the next one's good. We're back to good stuff. Tim, tell us about Nega Posy Angler.
Or negative positive angler.
Negative positive, yeah.
Yes, I don't know why Japan shortened it, but whatever. So the story, it's the original. So what they tell us is that the story follows this like college student who's like covered in debt, and he's like lost all hope and meaning in life, and he falls in the seas, and this fisherman like rescues him, and they introduce him into like fishing basically, and he kind of like begins to like discover the joy and fishing and finds meaning, like continuing life or some shit like that. I don't know. The premise, we don't know much else other than the guy is depressed and he goes fishing and it like saves his life somehow. But it looks really good.
Yeah.
The PV looked really interesting and high beat. I like it's Studio Nut, which is
Studio Nut's back. They haven't done
Hell
anything in a
yeah.
while.
back. They've done good stuff. We raved about Blue Giant last year from them.
Yeah.
And Decadence, they do good stuff. And yeah, the director's also more or less good. I don't know. He did Tanya, which I think people are like very hit or miss on
it's the
Tanya.
guy that does Tanya, and I know some people are really into that show, but
I don't get the really like chibi looking guy on the character cast list. He looks so out of place.
yeah, I don't know what's up with that, but we'll find out.
We'll see what his deal is.
Think that this seems, just from the preview, like a decently high production value, really good character drama, and it's about fishing. And man, I love fishing. So I'm excited. I think that this looks to be one of my favorite, or my most anticipated shows of the season. I think I'm like a good original from a good studio, with a competent team working on it, and it seems like a cool premise. And there's some really cool cuts of animation in it. So it's ticking all my boxes. I'm really into this.
Yeah.
It was just announced like end of July.
Yeah, it's a pretty
obviously.
recent one.
So they really came out of nowhere. So
Very cool
interesting
though.
to see what they pull for this one.
I do gotta say,
fishing sorry.
I do gotta say that like the synopsis like didn't really interest me, but then like I watched the PV, I'm like, oh no, I get it now. So, like, thanks podcast for forcing me to watch PVs.
There you go. Logan, are you interested in this one at all? Fishing.
Yeah, sure. I'll give this a chance.
There we go. Okay. Next up is Party Kara Suiho Tsarete Sono Chiyushi Jitsu wa Saikyo ni Tsuki, which is
the healer who was banished from his party is in fact the strongest. I'll take care of this one. You took care of the last one. This is just more isekai slop. The one good thing about the long light novel titles is that it does the job of summarizing for us.
Yep.
Shout out whoever wrote. This is a story of a support who secretly wrote This is a story of a support who's secretly a DPS in the synopsis. I just know that they were hurt by being relegated to support in the games that they played.
Man.
That's all
so
I got.
whenever you queue mid in League and then you get auto assigned to support, that's this.
Yeah.
This is for all those Lux main auto lockers. This looks atrocious. I don't know what to tell you. I have no thanks is the only thing I have written in my notes. Yeah, anything at
No.
all? Yeah, cool.
No.
All right, cool. So this is Puniiro wa Kawaii Slime, and really, I'm glad someone was finally brave enough to ask the question, what if Urusei Yatsura sucked ass?
Okay.
The premise here is that this guy's childhood friends with this girl who is really annoying, and he kind of hates her now, but she keeps hanging out with them because they're childhood friends, and also she's a slime. And it's bad. Like, I don't. It's just like the characters are annoying, Puniiru especially, like, and I don't know what appeal there is to this at all, and it just kind of sucked.
I mean, like, this is a cute art style. It's meant to be like a cute show. Like, I mentioned that earlier. Like, this is very much like a Mark show, our friend Mark. And like, if he really wants me to watch it, I'll watch it with him. But regardless, if not, then like, I have no real interest in watching the show.
Yeah,
This
I
is one
completely
of
missed
those
this one.
times. This is one of those times when people use cute because they can't think of a real compliment.
Well, I mean, because it is cute.
So,
No,
I
yeah,
mean,
the color palette is very, cutesy.
look. All I'm
it's in
saying
the title,
is that, like,
kawaii.
you can say something is cute all you want, but like, your actions define who you are, and she's so annoying. Like, I just do not know.
Yeah, if you're into the kind
I
of
don't know
anime
how
with
anyone
an
could
obnoxious
put up with
gremlin
this.
character, yeah. But this just seems like a mid gag comedy that isn't funny, and I have no interest in
Yeah.
that. So, no thanks.
Mhm.
I have no interest in the next one either. Who is this one? Is it Logan?
Hey. Yeah, it's Logan, and this is Reis Watanin ga I.
Or
So there
Yakuza
were like
Fiance.
yes. So there were like a couple of pages where this looked like it was going to be like a horrible man revenge plot, and that I was almost kind of into. Sadly, this is just a horrible man romance, and that does not do it for me at all. So the main character guy's bit is that like he's a like psycho killer mafia guy, but he's also a masochist who likes women to degrade him. And the girl, they're like she's like, I don't know, never had success romantically, so her dad, who is also a big mafia guy, like sets him up with him to like, hey, let's see if this works. I'm your dad and I'm forcing you into interacting with other people or whatever, and then he's like super nice the whole time, and then something happens, and then he starts acting crazy, and then he like is mean to her, and then she sells her kidney on the black market to get back at him, and I promise that kind of made sense in context, and that was the moment I was like, oh, okay, this might actually be cool. She's gonna like get his ass for this whole manga, and then like he immediately folds like wet paper, and then it turns into like that horrible man romance that I was talking about before. It also spent like a million years actually getting to the fireworks factory. Like, we spend a very, very long time with main character guy doing that affable doormat shtick, and it is extremely boring. And then the stuff that comes after the actual fireworks factory is also pretty terrible, because then it's like, oh yeah, this is just a romance with like a really quirky guy. Anyway, this is awful. Don't read it. Or watch it.
Yeah, this is hideous also. I just genuinely off-putting art style. It does not look good in motion at all. I don't know. I think that the main guy just looks weird and wrong. I don't know what it is this season of anime, but a lot of the art styles are just pretty bad. And also, I was never going to be super interested in the like Yakuza romance fantasy trope. I know that people are really into like the mafia boyfriend psycho killer. It's an incredibly popular like trashy romance, pulpy smut type shit, and I think it's just kind of that. So if you're into that, good for you. But also sorry, because this kind of looks ugly.
I think you guys are being a little too harsh on it. Like,
Okay.
I mean, I'm being honest.
Now, I did not know that the guy is secretly a masochist angle. I didn't know that part. But like otherwise, like this looked like a kind of interesting romance. Now, granted, I wasn't convinced from the synopsis or the first PV. It took until the second PV for me to be like, okay, there might be some merit to this. I'll give this an episode, but like for the most part, you guys are probably right.
I don't think you're the target audience for this one. I'm just gonna be real.
Look, well, I mean, like, I don't dream about like, you know, marrying into the Yakuza. I don't dream like about being marrying a bad boy.
You don't want a big Yakuza tattooed man to whisk you away off your feet.
No. But I mean, if it happens, then, like,
Tragic.
why not?
Not this one. Like I said, I just think he looks hideous. So unfortunately,
I'm with Juan. I think you can be a little too harsh into it. It's definitely on my like I want to try list, especially in the upper half, considering everything else that's we've been looking at.
Yeah.
It shows promise.
I really don't think it does. I think it's really trashy. Actually, I don't know, man.
We'll find out when in the mid-season when me and Tim watch episode 1, and we'll see if we continue from there.
Yeah, I guess so. All right, next up is a big one, very famous.
Yeah, speaking of Urusei Yatsura, we're talking about Ranma 1/2. So I've been vaguely aware of Ranma for as long as I've been an anime fan, and finally seeing it in the flesh was a little underwhelming, actually. I don't think that I liked it as much as Urusei Yatsura, and I didn't love Urusei Yatsura either. None of the characters are like as strong a personality as Ataru, at least in the first couple of chapters. So all of the slapstick gags don't land as well. And the pacing of the humor is like off, but that's something you could probably improve in the anime. I honestly wish the relationship. Okay, I guess explain the premise of a really famous manga for a second.
Yeah.
I guess Akane is a girl who like trains as a martial artist with her family in a family dojo, and she allegedly hates men. Honestly, in the chapter, the only evidence we get of that is someone says she hates men, and also she doesn't want to talk about boys with her sister, which seems like a perfectly reasonable thing to not want to do to me, but whatever. And Ranma is a martial artist guy who was cursed to turn into a girl whenever he gets splashed by cold water, I think, and then he turns back when he gets splashed by hot water. I don't remember. It's one of those two. Either I got it right or I got it backwards. And then also Ranma and Akane are getting like married for, I guess, like martial arts family political reasons, sort of, and so they have to like live with each other or whatever. And this is going to be kind of weird to say, but I actually wish the relationship between Akane and Ranma was more caustic, because, like I said, it doesn't really seem like Akane hates men. She just, seems to respond poorly when someone she thought was a girl and then walks into the bathroom and sees that they're actually a guy. That's not that weird. And yeah, also there's like half a dozen, "Yeah, you saw me naked, I'm gonna attack you" type gags. But, basically all spunky girls did those back in the 80s, so I at least kind of forgive them.
I mean, this
but I'm
was
not gonna
also like
pretend...
what created the tropes.
Yeah, you forget
I'm
that
sure.
It's all the other shows you watch.
Yes, it invented a lot of bad things that I hate, and that is a mark in its favor, I suppose. I'm not going to pretend that they made me laugh, especially here 40 years on after having to live in the world that Ranma 1/2 created. And it feels weird to say that a manga with this much prestige made me feel like nothing, but I don't know. I didn't really feel too much about it. It didn't make me laugh. It didn't make me feel much. I just can't recommend it. I don't really like Ranma 1/2.
I fear that I'm gonna have a similar experience watching it, because I've never really been into shows that I think have this style of comedy. I think I tend to bounce off of them. I really did not like Urusei Yatsura. I will still watch it out, obviously. I'm gonna watch episode 1. We're gonna see how it goes. Maybe it'll appeal, because I know a lot of people, it's very beloved for them, and it's a very classic manga that they grew up with, and, I don't know, maybe there's something there for me, but it's just an older manga from an older time with different style of comedy and sensibilities that I don't think have aged super well, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, like, you gotta give Ranma 1/2 like a chance.
Oh, yeah, of course.
On merit alone.
It's a classic.
I watched episode 1 like a while ago, and like I thought it was like fine. Like it's definitely like of its time, and like if it's anything like the Urusei Yatsura adaptation, like it's just adapting old school humor, and like it sometimes it just doesn't age well, but like it looks nice. It looks nice.
It's Mappa. I mean, that's a real studio that they got. Like,
Yeah. Tim, you got anything?
Oh, Ranma. I've always been more of a Urusei Yatsura fan than a Ranma fan, so I don't see myself enjoying it quite the same level I did with Urusei. But it's Ranma, so I'll just give it a try.
yeah, I'm curious to see how it's updated. Though I think it's probably gonna be like Urusei Yatsura, where they just don't really change very much, and it's just kind of a 1-to-1 adaptation, which is fine for the fans, but also maybe a little disappointing. I think having an adaptation happen so much later you can take some creative liberties and maybe try to make some changes. I don't know.
I think Urusei had those like slight nuance changes for especially a couple of those key scenes.
We
Like
didn't
I did
watch
a couple
it, so.
side by side for some of the more important episodes, and I think they definitely elevated the adaptation.
Alright.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Next up is Rekishi ni Nokuro Aju ni Naru Zo.
The English name is
I'll become a villainess who goes down in history.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all you, bud.
So this is one of those Otome game shows where the girl's playing an Otome game and she likes the villainess and she got hit by a truck and somehow she's now the villainess.
Yep.
And I think she likes the villainess, so she's going to try to become the best villainess, but also try to avoid her like death flag. I think the synopsis wasn't super clear, and the PV didn't tell me anything. This is a pretty generic, premise.
Yep.
Done by a pretty generic studio with a pretty generic director.
And it's just an incredibly oversaturated genre where basically none of them have stood out, and it's pretty similar to Tier Moon, which is a show that I watched to completion and also wasn't even very good. So I
was so surprised you watched Tier Moon, because Tier Moon I think is below the average quality of
we got tricked
quote unquote
at the beginning.
villainous shows. So
Anyway, I don't know, man. I'm sick of this genre. They're almost all bad, and I don't care. I don't care. It's just isekai with a new skin on it. I don't like. What are we doing? Why are these so popular?
It's called regression, Chris.
No, it's just that the industry is defunct, and they continually like get rewarded for reprinting the same ideas over and over again in mass. But,
Yeah.
Oh well. Okay. Next up.
You take this one. I'll take the next one.
Okay, this is Saikyo no Shinsoku Watsusushi de aru ore wa sekai Saikyo clan wo shitageru.
Or the most notorious talker runs the world's greatest clan.
This is another isekai slop show. I think he's good at talking.
Oh.
That's his fantasy skill. Wow.
It's not an isekai, Chris.
I know. It's
can't
just a
believe it's not
generic
isekai.
fantasy, but they're all the same. They're all in the same category. It's I don't know. I have
It's got
nothing to say about this. I really
It's
don't.
got an edgy tone to it.
It has a
kinda
slightly
edgy.
edgier tone. It doesn't look good at all.
it's edgier. The guy isn't like OP in the traditional OP sense.
He's got
He's
max
apparently-
charisma skill.
Max
Uh,
charisma.
Yeah, he increases the power of his teammates. That's what he does. He's a cheerleader.
Yeah. It's like that one show that we were talking about, the sequel one earlier. Yeah,
That's
there's-
my thing. That's my problem with this, that I don't know how much I would enjoy this show when Aristocrat is also airing, and that just does this but better and less.
there
edgier
is
and
nothing
cringe.
about this that
So-
stands out to me in any way. Like even like what's the one where he's the mastermind fantasy? That one was an isekai a little bit.
Mastermind.
You liked it a lot. It had several seasons. It's like where he's an over the top like
Oh, Kage.
yeah. Like I would just go watch that. I feel like if I wanted something that was similar where he's assembling a big team of people. I don't know. Okay, you want to do the next one?
Yeah, I'll do the next one. Sayonara Ryusei Konnichiwa Jinsei, or Goodbye Dragon Life. This is like a kind of cute generic fantasy show where a dragon becomes a human. he meets a Lamia who is hated by humans, and so she's surprised that he treats her nicely, and they go on an adventure together. It's a cute, wholesome premise. The visuals leave a lot to be desired. I'm not really interested in the
Yeah,
show.
it's just incredibly boring. Default main character design, looking ass. Don't
Yeah.
care. Fantasy, paint by numbers, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else on this one, Tim?
No, I'm good for this one.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Next up is Tohai. No, we just talked
Tohai.
about that.
No,
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 that's it. That's it. Tohai.
Okay, Tohai rate Mahjong Tohai Roku. So I think Logan is doing.
Yeah. So it's impossible to say for sure that I would still dislike this, even if I understood the rules of Mahjong, but like, I think so. I'm pretty sure. Because, and I'm not even going to give you a premise for this one, because the first chapter is just a game of Mahjong. That's all that it is. It boils a complicated strategy game with centuries of history down to a game of memory, and makes it clear that's going to be the prevailing attitude to Mahjong going forward. I really do hate when stuff portrays games of strategy as games of chance or memory. Like, you can pull, my grandfather's deck has no pathetic cards from time to time. That's hype. But, like, executing on a plan and adapting to your opponent is what's fun about these games, and what's fun about watching people play them. And, like, knowing that people have, like, memorized the marks on, like, the backs of these specific Mahjong tiles or whatever is not. All that to say that the Mahjong would be boring even if I knew why throwing away Hanitsu and declaring open Richi with a closed weight on a two-man situation is ridiculous. So the Mahjong's a bus, and that's very bad because, like I said, that's almost the entire chapter. So let's just cover the rest of it here. Am I intrigued by the weird girl living at the main character guy's apartment that shows up for one page at the end of the chapter? No, she shows up for one page at the end of the chapter. I don't care. Am I interested in the main character himself? No, he is a machine designed to memorize scratches on the backs of Mahjong tiles. Is there anything at all to compliment about this? I like that the bar he plays Mahjong at is apparently where all the ugly bastards hang out when they're done ruining the hentai.
Hell
That's
yeah,
funny.
ugly bastards.
But that's about it. Yeah, I can't recommend this. This was terrible.
Yeah, the trailer doesn't look very good either.
It doesn't look great. Yeah.
I still don't know how to play Mahjong,
Logan
so I don't know how the
Did it
interest.
talk about like the mafia and the bloody fingers that got cut off or something?
That didn't happen in Chapter 1. You know what happened in Chapter 1?
Mahjong?
He threw away Hanitsu and declared open Richi with a closed weight on a two-man situation, and everyone thought it was ridiculous.
I have
Did
no
you
idea
just
what that means.
Copy paste that from somewhere.
Yes. From the manga itself. That was a real play in the manga. I don't know what any of those words mean, but I do know that it's apparently ridiculous.
Yeah, yet another show that's going to expect me to know how to play Mahjong. I'm sure there's some mafia shit going on. Also, there's like Ifuro is playing like a blonde tan lolly. So I
That's
mean,
the person he's hiding away.
yeah. I don't know. I don't care about this. I don't know how it's hard for these types of Mahjong shows to get into them if you don't know how to play the game, because they really expect that you know how to play the game, and I don't know if there's enough outside intrigue to justify me sitting through what Logan was talking about, where they talk about complicated Mahjong plays and are like, whoa, and I'm like, yep, that's really cool, huh? Anything else on this one?
Nah, we can move on.
Okay. Trillion Game is next, the other Madhouse show.
All right. I'm impressed because this first chapter managed to tell me basically nothing except for how the manga is going to end. I don't actually know what it's about, but I do know what the ending is going to be. I have an extremely loose sense of who the two main guys are. Like, main character guy 1 is a magic hacker man who turns to complete gelatin if he's asked to talk and can't get a job because of that. And main character guy 2 is a smooth talker who wants to make $100 trillion. And I assume that number, like 100 trillion, was chosen because it's the GDP of the Earth. But they really should have just, like, gone with a regular trillion, because that's, like, just as impossible an amount of money and it rolls off the tongue better. The plot, I think, is that they're going to start a business and disrupt the old paradigms and make $1 trillion. What this business is going to do was not established in chapter 1. That's more of a chapter 2 question, I guess, and it would have been nice to have like some semblance of what the chapter to chapter feel of this was actually gonna be. And it shouldn't matter as much because, like, the best business shows are just like character dramas anyway, but the characters are like somehow simultaneously like stock and very malformed. Like, if you Xeroxed Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill from Moneyball like 30 times, this is what would come out. These two guys.
That actually sounds kind of fun.
No, it's not. It's just nonsensical, and it's hard to criticize because it felt like everything was wrong, like just a little bit. And fortunately for my purposes, all that kind of boils down at the end to a cannot recommend. But and this one was weird.
The art is really bad.
This has to be one of the ugly shows I've ever seen.
I thought the premise was just enough interesting to maybe check out, but I'm like, I don't think I can watch this. It is so ugly. Like, unbelievably ugly, actually.
I can't tell if that's the manga source material or if it's like
Madhouse.
The manga
Madhouse.
isn't particularly good looking, but it wasn't the most hideous thing I've ever seen.
It's just a weird, uncanny valley, off-putting art style is how I would describe it. It's just strange.
Reminded me a little bit of not kaiju. Is it a little kaiju? I don't know. There's something about it that just
it's trying to be a little bit on the slightly more realistic edge, but then it just doesn't work, and I don't know. It's so off-putting. I hate it. It's so bad.
Yeah,
too bad. Maybe the premise would have been interesting. It's Madhouse, but I don't know. I just can't deal with it. I can't deal with the way they've chosen to portray their characters. Like I said, there's something about this season. A lot of the art is just really bad.
I don't know what's up with the season. I really don't.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just off-putting.
I wrote down I'd have to hear that it's the best show of the season for me to even consider watching this.
I agreed, and I kind of doubt it. So.
I doubt it.
All right. Next up is Suma Shogu Shoga Kusai Ninaru, or
If My Wife Becomes an Elementary School Student.
Which is a bad name, but we're going to get into it. Give us a second.
Yeah.
Give us a second.
If you're worried about the title, don't be. Nothing even slightly risque happens in the first 2 chapters. And if this is going to hit us with a new Sagi drop, I would be like very, very surprised.
It's not. I've been told reliably it's nothing like that.
Okay, good. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's all the premise is that this guy's wife died like 10 years ago. And she was reincarnated as a person, and now she's 10 years old, and because 10-year-olds in Japan can just do whatever the hell they want, she's sought him out, apparently got her memories of her past life back somehow, and they're just kind of hanging out now at this point. Like, that was the first chapter, and I can see like the contours of this one pretty well by the end of chapter 2, which is kind of concerning because I don't know if that means it has enough gas to sustain itself for a full 12 episodes. Like, I feel like I know what this is going to look like, Let me put it to you this way. It feels like we're about halfway done with the dad's character arc already, and he's one of 2 possible dynamic characters in the entire manga. So, like, if someone comes back to me and says, like, no, really, this is a beautiful rumination on grief and loss, and it only gets better as it goes along, and it has a wonderful ending and it'll make you cry, I'm willing to give it another shot. But for now, this just kind of feels like a neat idea for like a one-shot or a 1-volume that I just cannot imagine getting stretched all the way out to apparently 14 volumes.
Yeah, 100 chapters, 115 or something like that.
Yeah, it was like 111, I
so
think,
like
but it doesn't
2
matter.
seasons.
I wasn't so big into this that I can recommend it. I think that there is like some popularity for this. You know what I mean. There are people who like this, and maybe they're right, but I don't think so. And I don't think I'm gonna watch it.
I've heard this manga's good. That's about all I have going into it, and that's probably enough to get me to check out at least episode 1. So just because I've heard good things, we'll see if it ends up being consistent, and they pace it well as far as the development goes. It's an interesting enough premise if it was handled well, which apparently it is, and I have no concerns about anything like gross happening. So yeah, I am moderately interested based on what I've heard of the manga, I would say, is where I'm at with this one.
Yeah, no, I definitely want to give the show a chance. Like, obviously the title is very concerning, but like, I don't know, we got to come up with a better title than if my wife becomes an elementary school student.
Maybe it works better in Japanese. I don't know. But yeah.
Well, like, I definitely want to give this a shot because like I've heard that it's a very profound story about loss and acceptance. Like, I'm sure it's very good.
Yeah. How about you, Tim?
Yeah, the same. I've heard really good things about the source material, so I definitely want to give it a try.
Yeah, trailer looks pretty good. Looks like it's being done decently well.
I was actually gonna say that the production like looks to be lacking a little bit. Like, I
It's
don't know.
like average, I would say. Yeah.
It's the studio hasn't done much, but they do I would say a wide variety of things. So same with the director. So I'm interested to see how he handles this topic.
Okay. All right, we'll move on to one of our biggest ones. Uzumaki.
Uzumaki. So this is the second Naruto sequel.
That's right.
No, but seriously, I read this all the way through many years ago. My memory of it is at least good enough that I didn't bother revisiting it for the pre-read, because all I know is that the ball is in Production IG's court. This is a nasty body horror manga that requires like some seriously good visuals to work. And it's also full of reveals that we've all seen the Super Eye Patch Wolf video, rely on a page turn to create suspense. So I'm interested to see how they're going to like kind of adapt that to anime. But the adaptation is going to have
it's not Production IG. It's Studio Drive and Akatsuki. Yeah.
Tim lied to me.
Whoa.
How dare you, Tim?
IG's producing it.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Whatever that means. Okay, well, studio whoever the hell, the ball is in their court. And I think if they nail it, they're going to make something very special. But I'm a little worried because this isn't like an easy slam dunk.
No,
like,
I would
this
actually
is
say
something
it's
that you really
quite
have
difficult
to work to get right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's Junji Ito. They've tried to adapt Junji Ito works before, and like almost every single time they've been misses.
All of them have been misses, without
All of
a
them have
doubt.
been misses.
Yes.
As someone who's seen like half of them, they've all been misses.
But like this one is actually all in black and white.
So it's a very highly anticipated work that's been like in development for
Years.
years.
The
Like, it's been,
director,
like,
if this
5
helps,
years.
it is the director of Mushishi and Detroit Metal City. So it's a guy that like has some artistic chops actually, and that is reassuring to me at least.
I mean, the PV looks
Yeah, the PV looks great.
good.
Yeah.
So like I have hope, but like it's also very hard to adapt Junji Ito's like work onto the screen. So
For sure.
we'll have to
They're
see
gonna
how
have to take
well
a very
he
creative
handles it.
take on it.
Has everyone read Uzumaki?
Juan,
Yes.
I have not, and I'm trying to. Well, I was gonna get to that in a second. Just googling around, the music is being done by a man named Colin Stetson, who is primarily known for doing the soundtrack for Hereditary.
Oh.
Yeah,
Ooh.
he also apparently did work on Red Dead Redemption 2. Cool.
That's very interesting.
So they're getting a Western horror guy to do.
I mean,
the music.
I don't necessarily remember the music from Hereditary, but like I'm sure it helps.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's like on purpose. Like you're not supposed to like really remember the music. It's supposed to just make you
it was
scared.
effective. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm excited. So what I was gonna say, I haven't read this. Has everyone else read this?
I read this in high school.
Yeah, I read this in high school, I think, or maybe college.
So like, should I read it first?
No,
or should I just run it raw?
Just
You should read it because the anime might be bad.
That's
The
my
manga's
worry. That's
definitely
always my worry with stuff like this. Like
I think you should be our
classics.
control.
Maybe I'll watch episode
No.
1 and then decide after that.
It's only 4 episodes.
Oh, is
is
it
it?
really? How
I think
long
it's
are they?
like
We don't know, but I'm gonna guess about 30 minutes
Interesting.
because it's.
I mean,
Cool.
it is a pretty short story. Like it's
So it's more like an ONA.
relatively speaking, yeah.
Okay. So this is more like it's trying to be high production avant-garde. So we'll see. I have higher. Oh, it's Adult Swim. I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope it's great, man. I really do. I'm a little
It's
scared
been in
as well.
production
but
hell. Yeah.
It's been there for a while. This is a classic, so we'll see if they can
I'd
do
say
it.
this is
I mean,
Junji Ito's
to be
magnum
fair-
opus.
To be fair, we did just come off of a classic manga in Pluto getting adapted and hit out of the park, so it can be done. But we're just gonna have to see, I think.
Yeah.
Exciting though.
Tim, were you
for
gonna say
sure.
something else was his magnum opus?
I think there's other potentials. I'm not gonna get into it though.
Yeah, that's a hot top. Yeah, a hot topic for sure. Definitely his most famous.
I really like Uzumaki. It's a great horror story.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't gone into any details about it. It's horror. That's all you
fun.
need to know.
Yeah, I
Like,
think this is it like sort of precedes itself, and also I think it's probably better.
as blind as you can for this one.
Okay. Next up is Yarin Aoshi Reijo wa Ryute Heika wo Koru Yakuchu.
Or the
Another
duo where
JC
damsel
staff.
conquers the dragon emperor.
Man, what a change in quality.
Yeah.
So the show is about the crown princess who gets betrayed by her country, and somehow she gets like time traveled back in time.
So she's a kid again. Yeah.
So she's a kid again, and this time she decides to get married to this this prince who's going to be like a tyrant in the future, and she's going to try to fix him or something like that.
I think. Yeah.
This just seems like worst version of Seventh Loop, which we had earlier this season. It's like the exact same
For
concept.
this
where
year. Yeah. This is a very, very popular concept right now in
I
a lot of
don't
webtoons and light
understand
novels.
why they make her like 10 and like
Because
a child.
I do, and it's not a good answer. It's the reasons that you think. I mean,
Like Seventh Loop made him like at least
There's
like
no
17 or
reason.
something.
there's no reason for this
uh,
character to be this young.
Yeah, I just like I don't know. I don't see any of the charm of the characters I saw in Seventh Loop or like the appeal.
Like it's basically, it literally is.
yeah.
It's just a lolly romance with like a grown man. I don't know. It just seems like that's what it is.
And this is one of the JC 10,
Yep.
so we'll see how the quality is. I don't know. If anybody was interested in watching this, I would say you should just go watch Seventh Loop.
No, I have
actually-
negative interest in
Zero
this show.
interest. Zero interest. Not at all for me. Okay,
All right.
and last
want to take us out, Logan?
one.
Bringing us home with Yokai Gakko no Sensei Hajimemashita.
Or I started being a teacher for a yokai school.
I love it when they just do the premise for me. So every season, there's a comedy that just fails to make me laugh.
Oh,
And
there it
this
is.
season, it's Yokai Gakko. Yeah, it was coming. There are a couple of contenders, but like it takes a lot for me to give a manga with not just one but two well-executed German suplexes a very bad review. In fact, it takes specifically one of the worst main characters I have ever seen. This guy is like the locus of all of the worst instincts of Japanese comedy wrapped up into one character. He screams and cries a lot. He balks at the premise of his own manga. He's got a capital Q quirk that is a comic black hole. Like, all he would have to do is to dryly describe the wacky things that are happening to be the total package. But one cannot be both a bokeh and a tsukomi, so he has to outsource that bit to one of the students. Anyway, the plot of the first chapter doesn't matter. It doesn't happen at all if two people actually talk to each other about the situation, and the side characters are all terrible. Like, literally, if you told me I could, like, drive a stake through this manga's heart and it would free Japan from a bad comedy curse that it's been under for decades, I would believe you and do it in a heartbeat. My highest cannot recommend. I hated this.
Wow, that's harsh.
Did I not predict this for you, Logan?
Yeah, you did.
I knew it.
I feel like this will be annoying. That is the vibe I got when I watched the trailer. I feel like the main character
There's
was
very
going to be
few
annoying.
things in it that aren't annoying.
Yeah, that's kind of what I got, which is sad because I think it has the bones of being like a funny premise comedy, but if it's not funny, then it's not funny.
My only note for the show was, what if Iruma was a teacher at his demon school?
That's
Yeah.
kind of the vibe that I got from it too. And based on that vibe, I kind of want to give it a try.
I feel like it's just worse
This is
Iruma,
not gonna.
though.
This is not going to fill anywhere close to the hole that Iruma left us. So no thanks. Yeah, don't even.
Absolutely
Do not sully its name. Man, when is Iruma season 4 coming out? By the way, I'm just gonna have to read the manga. Is that what it means? I don't know.
Chris, if you haven't noticed, anime is just a big advertisement for the manga.
I'm aware. I just, if there's gonna be a new season eventually.
You should start reading the spin-off Mafia one.
That you posted about, that does seem fun. We're way off topic. I don't think any of us have any interest in this one either, unfortunately.
No.
Which is kind of a trend I've noticed for most of this episode. And yeah, sorry, this season kind of sucks. I think most of the good stuff is in sequels, unfortunately, and there's just a lot of very generic slop to go in between. So with that in mind, let's pick a top 3. Let's see if we can sift through this.
Before I go into my top 3, it's funny you say that, Chris, because I actually wrote down the shows I'm going to be watching. Minus the sequels, I have about 15 shows that I'm watching this season. Or that at least I'm checking out. Now, granted, it's probably going to go down to 9 or 10 because that's how as I've been doing this entire season.
I don't think my list is even close to that long. So good for you, I guess. All right, let's figure it out. DanDaDautUmn is banned.
I was just about to ask, should we ban DanDaDautUmn? Because I think all of us are going to put DanDaDautUmn as number 1. Okay.
Just do something else.
In that case, my top 3 minus DanDaDautUmn, because that is absolutely my number 1. Mecha Ude, Negapazi Angler, and Ao no Hako Blue Box.
All right. Mine are going to be Kabushi Gaishi Maji Lumere, the Magical Girl Office Show. Negipazi Angler for sure, and Uzumaki, which I feel like is the other obvious one, but I can't ban 2 shows.
And I'm glad you didn't ban 2 shows, because I don't know if I have 3 shows that I want to watch that aren't anyway. And I'm going to go with Magi Lumiere, Uzumaki, and I guess I'll just stick my neck out on this fishing show and say that that's my number 3.
So exactly Chris's?
Yeah.
I
Why
think
not?
so.
Exactly
Except that unlike Chris, I'm not watching anything else.
Yeah.
That isn't a sequel or DanDaDautUmn.
I'd probably do Blue Box, Chi, and Negapazi.
Yeah, I would have maybe said Chi, but Logan's made me a little bit trepidatious. I still hope it's good.
I hope it's good too.
All right, there we go. Those are our thoughts. Sorry, it was mostly kind of dismissive and negative, but there's just really not that much. They're not sending their best this season. This is probably the weakest fall I've ever seen, actually.
Yeah, I mean, fall has traditionally been some of the strongest seasons.
At least in recent
Fall
years.
is always
fall's usually a
sequel
killer.
heavy.
Yeah, it is.
So,
But there's
and
always
we
at
have a
least
lot
a
of
couple
good
good new
sequels.
ones, but I don't know. Last fall had Inuzumaki, but yeah.
Last fall was exception because we have fucking Freeman
and Shangri-La
Apothecary.
and Apothecary and all these good stuff. Yeah. Anyway,
The fall before that was weaker. You forget.
I mean, the fall before that was Chainsaw Man, wasn't it?
yeah, it was Chainsaw Man and
Chainsaw Man, Bochi,
Bochi.
and then that's it.
Yeah,
I don't think there's
that's
any
pretty
other standout.
I mean, I think there was other. We don't have to go fact check this, but either way, I still think that this feels a little weaker. And maybe it's vibes based, but you know what? Vibes are okay sometime. Yeah, I think that's about it. Oh, Akiba Maid was in that too. Good season.
Yeah,
Never mind.
Fall is traditionally pretty good.
Blue
So
Lock. Mob season 3. This is a great season. What are you talking about? Kage?
we're not counting sequels. Sequels always been good.
Okay, I guess if
We're
we're not
talking
going
about
by
original
sequels,
shows, or there's only 1 or 2 usually good originals.
Akiba Maid, Gundam,
And the rest is
Maho
all
Gundam
sequels.
came out.
He's
Do
like,
It
let's not
Yourself.
talk about this right now. And then he
I'm
goes
just
into
kidding.
talking
I know.
about it.
I know.
I have to fact check. True American patriot fact check. Okay. All right. With that being said, next time we will see you. It'll probably be our review show for the summer shows, which are wrapping up as well. All right.
Yeah.
Until then, we will see you next time.
Later.